Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We're back. Come on, give me a hug. Give me a big hug.
So long.
We
so
missed you.
long.
Oh, we missed. Hold on. I need a minute. Yes, we are back. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, and all of you. Yes,
Look
we
at
see
all
you
these
in the
people.
chat section. I'm going to work my way up. Bill, Chris, M. Reyes, Mr. Taz, A-Dog, Mood Swing Bella,
GG
Jameson, Mint,
Ooh.
Niners. I'll even give Niners love today. Yes, Mint Diggity, everybody, Eagles, Tyler. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? We missed you guys. We're happy to be back. And what did anything happen when we were away? I don't know.
Nah, it was a really quiet week.
Yeah, real quiet. Right.
Nice little peaceful week. Yeah.
And y'all can see I'm blue again. But see, I don't know why my camera does this.
Barrett's blue because he missed all of you so much.
Yeah, I did miss everyone. You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
he just went back to blue again.
I know. I don't understand it, man. It's a Mac. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just does it, man. So I don't know. I'll be
Instead
blue
of-
today.
Instead
I got my
of-
frat colors on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
There
But
you go.
it's blue. I don't understand this. You know.
You know what? Barrett, from now on, I refer to you as Bluey.
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 I don't care what you call me, just as long as you call me, man. I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy to be back.
And by the way,
Yeah,
happy spring, Derek Gunn.
Happy first day of spring, baby.
Yes.
I've never seen you more happier, bro.
Did you see it's going to be 71 degrees in the middle of this week?
What?
No,
Shut
temperatures are going up, man.
Look at this.
I ain't seen Big Gus smile in so long.
Look, I'm so emotional right now. Where is it? Okay, here it is.
I got 65 on Thursday. That although it's going to rain, but that's okay. That's pretty nice.
I'm good with that.
71. Look at this week, man. Tomorrow, 60. Wednesday, 60. Thursday, 65. Friday, 61. Saturday.
Time to turn the air off. You got to turn. You got to turn off. You got to turn off the heat now. You can turn the heat off now.
No, I
Good luck,
ain't turning off
man,
the heat.
in my
I ain't
house.
turning off the heat. No.
Somebody's always turning up the heat in my house, and I'm always turning it down.
I'm glad you said that, Rob, because I'm always the last man standing in my house, right? Everybody goes to bed, and my wife keeps it at like 67, 68. So occasionally she'll get up the next morning. I noticed the temperature was 71 when I got up this morning. I was like, really?
You put it up that high, man?
Oh yeah.
How do you sleep when you're hot? When it's hot like that, man? I can't do it.
I sleep because my wife, I told you, has a ceiling fan. And
By the way, what is
it?
going on, man?
That's not my house.
It's my house, man. They're outside. They're starting the yard and everything. Excuse me. That's what they're doing, man.
Okay.
So I can't do nothing about it. I just got the damn dogs to sit their butts down, man. They were going crazy.
Oh,
I went down. I had the whole court, man. I had to look both of them, look them in their eyes. Hey, look, man, we're not going through this. We're not going through it. I mean, I'm literally like this. We're not going through this. We're gonna be quiet. We're gonna stop all the barking. You know, them dudes come once a week. Don't start. Let's get off on a great way this spring. Okay.
Wait, what did we do? We did. I miss Chris D.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
sorry,
Chris.
I didn't see her. It goes so fast on the chat. I'm sorry, Chris D.
Uh-oh.
Fitness Rebel always keeps us in check, man.
Yeah, she does.
I told you, don't mess with Fitness Rebel, man. I'm telling you.
There go my moms. What's up, moms?
An assassin, man. Don't mess with her.
Yeah,
moms will be in the house. I'm flying moms up on Wednesday.
Nice.
Her and my niece up. Yeah, they're coming on up.
Okay.
Man,
she didn't send me. She didn't pre-send me a grocery list. My daughter's. My grandma said you got not. Dad, could you please go to the store for grandma? My grandma said you got to go get this.
Yep.
What? What are you talking about? She says she needs this.
You better do it.
Yes, I am growing the hair out, by the way, for folks on the chat. I don't know what I'm in a transitionary stage. Maybe I'll go. I'll grow
okay, Rob.
Okay.
I'll
go like a ponytail. I don't know what I'm going to do. But
I'm growing my nubs out.
If you grow a mullet, dog, I'll give you $500, dog. You grow a mullet.
What?
Dog. $500.
I can be had very easily.
Yeah.
That's a new gas.
Party in the back, man.
Yeah.
I need a party in the back.
Party in the back. Yes.
Hey, going back to the dogs for my wife and my daughter accuses me of verbally abusing the dogs.
Oh,
I can believe that. Especially the crazy one.
Shut up, Brett. The two small dogs want to go outside every 5 minutes. They just go outside to bark and then come back. It's like it's monotonous after a while. So I started telling them, I said, yeah, you know what? I'm opening the gate. I do say stuff like, I'm opening the gate. You're not getting back in the yard. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Go out that door. I'm opening the gate, and you're not coming back in. You know,
you look, you do like this. See them hawks and eagles up there? Boom.
Oh my God.
I think last week while I was off, I'm trying to paint. I'm getting, the answer. What's his name? Where is it? Was it Carl Stevenson? Who was it? One of them asked, "Hey, D Gun, did you get your honey-do list done?" The answer is, I was proud of myself. I got some painting done, stuff like that. And I let the dog out. You're going out 5 minutes. When you paint, man, you got hands everywhere, brushes.
Yeah.
These dogs every 5 minutes. The neighbor walked by with a dog on the far side of the yard. Dogs want to go out to bark and then come back in. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I hope one of these turkey vultures swoop down. What did I want to say that for? Within earshot of my wife and my daughter, Tina. See, Dad, that's what we talk about. You're so mean to the dog. I'm not mean to the dogs. They got a home. They eat better than most people. They get rotisserie chickens, organic broth.
They definitely eat better than I do.
I'm not mean to them. I'm just tired of. I can't be letting them in and out of there. And then you got to keep the diaper on the one because he likes to mark the house every chance he gets. So we got dog diapers we put on him. Oh yeah,
doggy diapers.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. We got a little news. Zach Pascal, 2-year deal with the Cardinals. So he follows Jonathan Gannon to the garden, or to the desert, desert.
So is Kazir White. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's out, man. He is out.
Wow.
But that's a pimple on the mountain of everything that went down.
A pimple.
Yeah, because I know.
A pimple on the
49ers. What's his name? Niners.
Yeah.
Niners all day. I know he's happy right now. He's definitely happy right now.
Oh yeah.
He went in and stole our guy.
Well, yeah, Javon Hargrave goes to the Niners, which is a big, and he got paid.
Oh,
did he get paid?
Well, we knew that anyways. If you look at production, I mean, he had double digit sacks last year. So that alone,
as a D tackle,
yeah, it puts you in the upper echelon of defensive tackles. So of course you're going to get paid accordingly.
Yeah, no question. So that's the biggie, the most recent biggie, not Zach Pascal aside here. C.J. Gardner-Johnson last night agrees to a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Lions, which kind of set off the string of some weird stuff going on, as it always does on social media, right? So after this happens, his agency then tweets out, which I found incredibly bizarre, but Universal Sports Entertainment Management tweets out perception versus reality, 1 year real versus 3-year fake, which sounds better to you. 1 year equals 8 million. 3 year equals 24 million max with 17 million in 3 years. Which one are you taking? Mic drop. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
What's the name of the company again?
Universal Sports Management.
Wow.
So then Seth Joyner, our own Seth Joyner, tweets out, I'm astonished at a few things here. If this is my agency, they're fired at the time of this post.
No question about that.
Yep.
Next, the ignorance of responses, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need to get into that part, but I want to start there, Barrett. Okay. As someone who's lived this life as an NFL player who had an agent, and I know Gunnar and I have had agents in our time, but it's different. But in the NFL world, I want to start with you. If your agent or agency, whoever decided to fire that bad boy off, I guess that's a shot at the Eagles. But let's start there. To me, I found it a joke and completely unprofessional. But your thoughts?
It's not just a shot at the Eagles. It's a shot at everybody that really tried to sign them, who threw contracts at them. $24 million versus $8 million 1 year. A bird in hand versus two in a bush. Guaranteed money versus you playing for 1 year.
Yes. And
you're going to re-up next year. I mean, to me, I just don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. I mean, it's the same deal. You know what I'm saying? But you got a guaranteed $17 million you're going to get. I'm going to go with this guarantee every time. But
thank you.
Well, I'm going to say this, though. I don't pay my agency to drop any mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just shut up, work out my deals.
Yep.
I don't need you talking about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what he's been doing. And we're trying to get him to stop doing it.
By the way, what mic are you dropping, dude? You get your guy a
right.
1-year deal for $8 million in Detroit. and I know Detroit's going to be better. Don't get me wrong. They're not what they were. But still, you're dropping a mic after that?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Come on.
Here's the thing. Does this agency not realize what you just did is committing professional suicide, because he's going to be on the market next year? Do you understand how many teams are not going to want to hire your client because of you, and that you're putting business that you normally don't put out there behind closed doors? And you take a shot at the organization also? So even if the Eagles wanted to bring you back next year, they're not bringing you back because of what you just. How dumb can you be? The dude needs to get rid of this agency and find a legitimate agent.
Yep. And the other thing is, good. I'm not saying you can't get deals done with your other clients with the Eagles, but do you really want to do that to your relationships with your other guys who may be Eagles players or Eagles players in the future? If you have to negotiate with this organization, it's dumb. It's short-sighted. It's emotional. It's all the things an agent shouldn't be. Like, we can get emotional. I know behind the scenes, I've been crazy sometimes at contract offers that I had. And my agent's always like, all right, easy. Like, I'll take care of this thing. Your agent, you can let, like, CJ can be all emotional he wants because he's firing up tweets every 13 seconds too. He's that guy.
Right, exactly.
But your agent needs to be flatline chill, dude. It's just dumb. Well, it's bad business.
Bad business to how are you going to call out the very people you're going to be negotiating with, not just this year, but for years on with other clients? You kind of just swept those guys, under the rug of understanding you're never going to be able to talk to those guys in a eye to eye again because of remember when you did this? Because I'm telling you right now, Howie, he's going to remember that.
Yeah.
You already dropped your mic with me.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Howie will hold a grudge too. You know what I'm saying?
He picked the mic up and he's going to show it to you next time there's a negotiation.
Right. He's going to pick that joker right up. Like,
that's going to be picked
remember
up.
This mic?
Yeah, I think he caught it in the air before it hit the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
This one right here. Yeah, this mic.
Is this the one you were talking about right here? All right, let's put the agent thing aside, Gunner. Let's put that aside for a minute. So 2 things that strike me off of this. 1, they must not have wanted CJ that badly. Or you tell me. I mean, because I know you have been hearing some things behind the scene and with what's been happening here with the negotiation with this.
Well, no, they wanted him, and they wanted him from day one of free agency. And, they made offers and they counter offered. But I think not just CJ, but most of the safeties out there that were on the market miscalculated the market for safeties because the Falcons kind of skewed the market by giving Jesse Bates, $64 million.
That was the one guy who got paid.
The one guy got paid,
Safety
and every other safety thought they would get something close to that. And especially CJ, when you consider he finished tied for a league in interceptions. But it became quite obvious after that. Every other free agent safety was getting 3 years, $12 million, 3 year, $15 million. $15 million was basically the cap for safeties out there.
15, 3 years, $15 million.
Okay,
and they turned down 24.
They turned down 24. Yes.
Yeah, because he thought as he played the game a little bit more and played the market more, he would do better.
And as I reported on Twitter yesterday, the first 2 years, whatever the money was, the first 2 years of the offer the Eagles gave him, the final offer they gave him a week ago, was guaranteed. Okay, guaranteed.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Wow.
And you settle for 1 year. Now think about this: after you pay all these agent fees, entertainment tax, stuff like that, that $8 million you get drops down to, and after paying state tax, federal tax, that drops down to about $4 or $5 million, which is still a decent chunk of change.
Yes.
But even if the Eagles offered you, let's say, $14 million guaranteed over the first 2 years, I'm taking that all day, every day. Because if I get hurt, at least I got that guaranteed money for the next 2 years. He already had the spleen injury. Yeah, he's already had the spleen injury or what was the spleen, liver, whatever it was.
Spleen,
yeah.
So he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's a hard hitter, which means he's susceptible to being injured again. Now that tells you something about the fact that the Niners, the Saints couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so the Saints obviously knew something the Eagles didn't know, but the Eagles started to find out once they had got him in the fold.
Yeah.
You're right about that. And let's not look at this, forget the fact that in all actuality, he was a corner until the Eagles made him a safety. He was a slot corner.
Right.
And the market for cornerbacks this year was virtually null and void. I mean, it wasn't even close to what I thought they were going to be made. I thought that they were going to make, tons of money. I thought Bradbury, which that's another topic we're going to talk about, I thought he was going to get paid out the wazoo.
Same.
But the market is different. This is a totally different type of NFL as far as with the secondary and how they're approaching things. This secondary is no longer the hard-hitting, Ed Reeds, Troy Palomalus, and guys like that. This no longer the league in which they're relying on safeties to make a lot of plays. These guys these days are just virtually cover 2, cover 3.
Yep.
And there's no more shutdown corners really either. How many times you've seen a cornerback follow the best receiver? Slay did it a lot, but it's not. This is a zone coverage type of NFL these days. That's how you stop these big time quarterbacks by playing zone and because of that. I don't think they're gonna start getting paid until these younger guys. You know what I'm saying? These young guys that are now these who just say shut down corners. Maybe the market changes when they become free agents, like Sauce Garner, guys like that.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's just not So in saying that, he was a cornerback. They moved him to safety. Do you really think you're gonna get the top money because you just started a position? You just learned how to play this position.
Right.
I mean, we act like CJGJ was a baller at first. No, he first got here. He didn't know how to play the safety position. He didn't know his run fits. He didn't know where he's supposed to be in zone coverage. He learned it. They gave an opportunity to learn it, and they actually let him play out of position until he got into position to be a good player. Then he became pretty damn good. But still, he's still learning to be a safety. He won a top safety money. Yeah, you had a lot of interceptions. 6. But does that garner you as being one of the top safeties in the league?
Exactly.
Yeah, and look, any way you slice it, he miscalculated. He and his agent miscalculated the market, or
Absolutely.
else there would have been a better offer than the Lions made to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the shame of it is, yes, the Eagles lost a player that they needed. That position's up in the air right now. We don't know if they're going to go outside or stay inside or whatever. But there were so many other positives that happened this past week, in my opinion. Yeah, you lost Hargrave and some other big time players, but the fact that you bring back Bradbury, the fact that you bring the Slay thing was just, which we'll get into in a minute, was bizarre. It's just weird how all of that went down. But he's coming back. I mean, so your secondary, at least from that standpoint, your corners are in good shape. You still have Avante here. Safety's a big question mark right now. I mean, you lose Epps and you lose CJGJ. It's a major question mark, and we don't know. As much as Reed Blankenship showed you a little something, we don't know for sure if he's ready to step in there and be a big boy. We don't know yet. My guess is they're going to get somebody in from the outside. They're going to sign somebody.
You're right, man. You're right. Because right now, what's your secondary?
Well, your corners, I like your corners, Barry. I mean, you have Slay, Bradbury, and you could just have Avante stay in the slot, possibly, or like you said, he could go to where CJGJ played, and then you just need to fill that slot corner and then the other safety spot.
Well, Greedy.
I was right. I forgot about Greedy. Greedy comes.
So when I look at the secondary now, I see you got Slay, and you have Bradbury in the slot. I will put Greedy. Even though you could put Greedy, he's bigger than Avante. Avante's he's not even 6 foot.
Greedy's got good
Avante's
size.
like 5'9", 5'10", in cleats.
Yeah. But still, though, the way he plays the game, he plays like a safety. Watch the Dallas game where he had it, man, before he got hurt. He was playing virtually like a secondary. He a safety. You know what I'm saying? The way he played the game. He played aggressively. I think he'd have been a better safety than even CJGJ given the opportunity. So I would move him there. To me, it makes more sense having him there than putting him at the slot. You know what I'm saying? I like him. I've been liking him at that safety position, man. You know what I'm saying? He may be a little undersized, but he can play that position. I think he's very instinctual. That'd be the perfect place for him.
Yeah.
The one thing people want to know about safeties nowadays is how fast can they get sideline to sideline. That's all they have to do. It's not about the tackling skill anymore. It's about how much ground can they cover, especially if they play single high safety, occasionally, like a lot of defenses will do. How quick can he go from one side to the next? And when you look at the situation, whether they put Greedy in that slot, move Avante back. Avante's got the speed to be able to go sideline to sideline. And Avante is a good tackler. He's not consistent, but he's a good tackler. And there's no such thing as a dominant, definitive safety tackler anymore. They don't exist. We talk about what type of shutdown corners don't exist anymore. Those hard-hitting safeties like the Troy Polamalos, the Ed Reeds, and all this stuff, they don't exist anymore for the most part.
No, there's no more Ronnie Lott and Steve.
Well, and they don't. The league doesn't let it.
No, the game has changed so much.
So everybody's pretty confident in Reed Blankenship being the one.
I wouldn't say I'm confident. I wouldn't say that.
Everybody's good with Reed Blankenship just moving right in as a starter.
That's what everybody keeps saying, and I'm not there.
Just push him on in there being a starter. I'm not at that point. No. Yes, he has some quality reps. He got a couple picks. He picked off the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a good player. Is he good enough to be a full-time starter? It's different between going into it and being a full-time starter and how you can use it. I mean, I don't know what Desai's going to run. What type of defense is Desai going to run? Exactly. Is it going to be a cover 3, cover 2? What type of secondary we're going to use? I just know a 3-4 is a lot of zone blitzing.
Yeah.
It's zone coverage, zone blitzing.
And he doesn't blitz that much.
Right. So, but see, zone blitzing doesn't necessarily mean a zone blitzing like blitzing is when you bring 5 or more to me. 5 or more. Or, so if you're just rushing 4, like they have 3 down linemen. You have the center, you have the nose guard right over the center, and then you have defensive end over the 2 tackles. Those 3 are going to come. But what side are you going to bring that linebacker from? That's the 4th guy. That's the 4th guy. So that means a 4-man line is rushing. If you rush both of those guys, that'll be a blitz because they're sending 5 guys. Or if you bring a safety and have them blitz off, or a cornerback, that 5th guy, that's a blitz. But zone in zone coverage, you can bring that middle linebacker and those 3 different defensive linemen, and it's still not a blitz. It's just rushing 4 people. Yeah. And I don't think people really understand the concepts of zone blitzing as opposed to just rushing 4 or having 4 down linemen. That's what we got to see what Desai's going to do.
Here's another thing we're going to have to sit and wait patiently.
How far, Rob? I mean, I want to break this stuff down.
I love it.
We're not going to know what kind of defense Desai is running through OTAs, minicamp, preseason games, because we won't have a true gauge of what he's running until at least 3 or 4 games into the regular season. That's just a given. They're going to hide, like every team, they're going to hide everything they want to do throughout training camp and preseason, even in the controlled scrimmages, whoever they scrimmage against, you're not going to see anything more than vanilla. So us, like everybody else in this region, is going to dissect and analyze what we see from them in May and June and August. And it's not going to be because when they hit the ground running, everything changes. And on top of that, they're playing a better collection of teams this year, a better collection of quarterbacks. So we don't know. I mean, and not just Desai, he had a whole new defensive coaching staff. Mm-hmm. It takes time for these people to learn each other. It's not going to happen overnight.
Secondary linebackers. Yep.
Yes.
It's a lot of turnover here.
We only have one linebacker right now that everybody's penciling as a starter.
Yes.
Only one guy, and that's the Kobe Dean as of right now.
Think about this. As decent as this defense looks, decent, and I emphasize the word decent because that's all we can go on. This Eagles defense lost their top 5 tacklers from last season. Their top 5 tacklers are gone, okay? And they weren't a great tackling defense to begin with. And your top 5, not 1, not 2, not 3, your top 5 tacklers are no longer on this team.
Yep.
That's a lot to replace in one fell swoop.
Going to have to score. And there's going to be a lot of pressure put on this offense because they are going to have to put points up week in and week out.
You can't even see it. Oh, damn. I wish I could see it. Oh, here we go. You can see it now. You can see it.
Kind of
like here.
A little bit. Yeah.
All right, look. Now, when you look at this, I say, yeah, it did, didn't it? You got the 2 ends. Yeah. These ends. And when I say you can bring three, those three, the end, the nose, and the end, they come. They're just rushing forward. But if they bring that linebacker off the other side, if they bring one of those linebackers, that's just bringing 4 blitzers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not necessarily what you would call a blitz, but it'll look like a blitz because they're bringing that linebacker. If they bring both of those outside linebackers, then that's a blitz because they're bringing 5 people. But if they bring those 3 defensive linemen, the end, the nose, and the end, and one of these linebackers right here, and they bring just one, it looks like a blitz, but it's not a blitz because they're only bringing 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Or if they bring these 3 and bring that slot corner, the slot corner off the edge. They bring that slot corner off the edge. They're only bringing 4. So that's not a blitz because they're bringing 4 people. But if they bring that slot corner and that backer that's over the top of them, they bring him. That will be a blitz because they're bringing 5. So zone blitzing just means you're bringing 4 defenders from somewhere. But if you bring that 5th one, that's a blitz.
Hey, Barrett, 2 things. First of all, keep that paper up the whole show because you never look better. Number 1. Number 2.
I'm trying to educate people. You're killing me, D-Gun. You're killing me.
and secondly, I love the way you broke it down. But as I'm listening to you break it down, I'm asking myself, and I'll ask you the question. So in this 3-4 scheme, is Reddick an end or linebacker? Because I don't want him playing stand-up. I don't want him playing stand-up linebacker. That's a liability. He's a liability as a stand-up linebacker. See?
Exactly. So
See?
Yes, he is a linebacker.
I don't want it.
That works.
Yeah, because he's got to drop back in coverage again. We got to go through this like we went through the first part of last season.
In the 3-4, he has to line up over that tackle. Do you want him that close on that tackle? He's a small guy. If you put him at end and he lines up over that tackle just reach out and grab him.
Yeah.
He can't use that speed against him because he's so close to him. You want him out in space, so you put him out the linebacker position. There lies the problem. How is Desai going to use it? He may go back to a 4 down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He may do that. But right now with a 3-4 concept, a 3-4 scheme, if they were to use him as a defensive end, he'd be lined up over a tackle, and that's too tight for him to be. He wants to be out in space where he can use his speed.
Yeah.
All right, let's come back and let's run, just refresh everybody's memory. Let's jog through who's staying. Let's jog through who's going. All right, we'll get a little bit more into that and kind of where we see the Eagles as of this point, some value, some surprises, a lot, and we'll get into the departures in a minute. A little later, we'll do some Sixers, we'll do some Phillies, we'll do some Sweet 16, all that kind of. Barrett's squad, by the way, still alive. The Kansas State Wildcats
still alive.
So,
they were number 3 in the bracket, man. They were number 3 in the bracket. They just beat up on Kentucky.
Jerome Tang has done an awesome job as the head coach for Kansas State.
Great
Awesome
job.
Awesome
Great
job. So we'll get into that. We'll get into all that stuff in a little bit. But first, guys, I want to welcome to the program. We have a brand new sponsor, okay? And these are my guys and gals at Bravo Pizza in Havertown. Now, I can't tell you how excited I am to have them join Sports Take and JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. They're unbelievable people. Again, Bravo Pizza in Havertown. I've literally been going to Bravo since I was a little kid. That is no lie. I've been going there forever, and it is the best. It's not just the best pizza; it's the best food that you could possibly get. All right, they've been family owned since 1985. Alex and his crew, they're open 7 days a week. And here's the great thing: all of their food is made fresh, and it's homemade daily. None of that sitting under some heat lamp thing where it's stale and gross. No, fresh, brand new. The other thing, Bravo offers 20 different styles of pizza daily. That is 20 different styles. They have slices. They have pies to go. I love the upside down. That's what I get. They know when I order, boom, that's what it is. And I'm there every single week. Trust me when I tell you that. I might have to sneak off if nobody's looking right now and go get some, as a matter of fact. But the other thing is, in addition to the 20, they'll even stretch it beyond that, because they have a pizza setup where you name it, they'll make it. Okay. They get that creative. Okay. They specialize it any way that you want it. They don't just do pizza, by the way. Fresh pasta, sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads. I've had it all. It's all unbelievable. Bravo's also committed to the community too. Fundraisers, charities, schools, little leagues, all the proceeds go to that organization. It's a great, great thing. And you can follow Bravo Pizza on Instagram at Bravo Pizza of Havertown on Instagram, Facebook. I liked it. Boom. I find out where all the specials are and all that good stuff. There's promo codes, all kinds of unbelievable stuff. 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, 610-446-3810. That's 610-446-3810. The great folks at Bravo Pizza.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Welcome back, everybody. We are happy to be back. Thrilled to be back with you after a week off. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. That's Barrett. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We're hanging out with you. 3 hours of power each and every single day. All right, guys. So let's just run through for, there's a lot of movement here with who left, who's back, who's new, all those kind of things from an Eagle standpoint. But let's hit it this way. Who's back? Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, which we'll get into in a second. Boston Scott, James Bradbury, Darius Slay with an extension, not that he was a free agent. Rashad Penny, newcomer. Greedy Williams, newcomer. Marcus Mariota, newcomer. Leaving, Javon Hargrave, TJ Edwards, Marcus Epps, Kaiser White, Miles Sanders, Andre Dillard, Isaac Sayamalo, Gardner Minshew, and CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think I hit all of them. Am I missing anybody off of your guys' top of the head?
No.
Okay. So that's the main coming and going. Let's start with the positives with the guys who are either coming back or new to the team. I think we knew these before we left for our time away, but Brandon Graham, comes back at a nice price for the Eagles at $6 million. Jason Kelsey got paid. He got more than he got last year. I'm thrilled he's
14,
back.
Yeah,
14 plus for Kelsey. Fletcher Cox got 10. That felt a little high to me.
I agree.
I don't think so.
I thought it was going to be 7-ish, Barry.
That's what I thought.
Who's our best right now? Who's our best defensive tackle?
Him.
He is.
Yeah.
But that ain't saying a whole lot.
What do you mean? Fletcher
Dude,
Cox
come on,
is a
man.
starter.
Come on, man. Hold up, B. Brooks. Fletcher Cox is not the player he was 4 or 5 years ago, bro.
Well, if he was the player he was 4 or 5 years ago, he'd be making 24, 25,
Yeah,
like the kid from Washington.
But if they had moved on from him and drafted another D tackle, I would have been fine with that as well.
I would have been also. But right now they need Fletcher Cox.
Well, they need Brandon Graham. They need Kelsey. They need,
But also, Diga, look at what guys are getting these days. Look at the tackle that got paid that went to the Texans.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the caliber of Fletcher Cox, and got big money. It's just the nature of what's going on in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
That position's paying more than safety and corner.
That's what I was going to say. You see it you see what little running backs get. You see what little safeties get.
Although your boy got paid. Ducey hooked him up.
Yeah, Miles Sanders got a nice deal.
25 over 4.
Yeah, I frankly, they overpaid, and I like him.
Yes.
I don't dislike him, but he's overpaid for the position that he plays. But anyway, yeah, you're right, Barrett. There's a couple of exceptions here and there, but that was, that was a big year. But I get it. Like Fletcher kind of hit free agency at the right time, and guys departed, which made it, I guess, him more of a priority. But that still feels a little heavy for me as far as that goes. Rashad Penny's an interesting case here. When healthy, really good. I mean, really good when he's healthy. But he's hurt a lot. He's been hurt a ton in his career. So 18 games in the last 3 years is all he's played.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 2 years, he's averaged 6.2 yards per carry, and he's rushed for over 1,000 yards with very limited, opportunity because he's missed time. That's 8 touchdowns too on top of that. And he's only 27.
Mm-hmm.
This all comes down to this guy staying healthy. I mean, for whatever Miles was last year, and Miles had a real good year. He got in the end zone a lot, and he played every game. This is a little bit of a risk with Rashad Penny. Super cheap, but got to stay healthy.
He's a big back at 220 pounds. And the thing I like most about him is he runs hard. He runs hard, he breaks tackles, and he has a second gear. He can run away from people. But
I don't know about that.
Rashad Penny can run away from people now. I'm not saying he's as fast as Miles Sanders.
Right.
But I've seen him separate when he gets to that second level. And he'll punish you as well. My only concern is how many games are you going to have him for? What did he have? A broken fibula? He only played 5 games last year. Was it a broken fibula, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe he broke his leg. Yeah,
and that's a tough injury to come back from. I don't care how you look at it. You can talk about putting steel rods here and all this stuff. That's a tough injury to come back from. I look at the Eagles' backfield situation right now. I like it, but I don't love it. And as I said like weeks ago, Kenny Gainwell is going to be your lead back. Now, when I said people lost their minds, well, is that the feature back? There's no such thing as a feature back in an Eagles backfield. The lead back is when push comes to shove, he's going to be the one they're going to count on the most. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get the most carries game in and game out, as we've seen from the Doug Peterson era through the Nick Sirianni era.
Right now they're not going to. It won't be like Miles Sanders was the closest we've had to a feature back that we've had in the past.
Agreed.
Maybe 6 years? The first time in the last 6 years we've had a feature back. He was a feature, like it or not, he was a feature back. Towards the end, he wasn't. But you're right, D-Gun. This is not a bell cow back system.
Right.
So
can you believe he's agreed with me twice in less than an hour?
This is obviously
we must have been gone.
There was some counseling during the week away. Hey, the Phillies have released Mark Appel, the reliever who got a great opportunity last year, battled back from mental health issues and years in the minors, and it's a shame. It's the reality of the business. Unfortunately, he's been released by the Phillies.
He's a hard thrower.
Yeah, I hope he catches on somewhere. He actually, it's interesting. A couple of days ago, he put out this post saying, this is probably my last year in the big leagues. I'm up against the clock. I'm 31 years old. I'm in the minor leagues. It's going to be really tough for me. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall. I wish the guy all the best, no matter what happens. He seems like an incredibly classy guy who's overcome a lot. So wish him all the best. Anyway, back to the Eagles and a couple other things. So, no small feat, guys. You bring back a double-digit sack artist in Graham. You bring back the best center in the game in Jason Kelsey. Fletcher Cox had 7 sacks from the defensive tackle position. You bring back a really good depth running back in Boston Scott. Both of your corners are back when it didn't look like there was any chance Bradbury and Slay were going to be back. So let's go into this for a minute. The Slay thing was bizarre. So he's given permission to seek a trade because Eagles wanted him to either take a cut or take an extension. He didn't want to do it initially. Okay. He's tweeting out, I'm gone. Basically his wife, thank you, Philadelphia. Bye. All this other stuff. So we go through this whole thing, and then we start in dribs and drabs, the reports, hey, don't quite close this door yet on Slay. Like, oh, okay, maybe not. And then all of a sudden, back like I never left. Here comes the tweet from Slay, and he agrees to an extension, and he's back. Is this another situation where you test the market, you dip your foot in the pool, and it's a little too cold for you?
Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah,
it was cold.
That's not a heated pool.
Well,
right.
The initial problem was I found out Slay wanted 3 years guaranteed. Now, first of all, that's bad business to give a 32-year-old cornerback 3 years of guaranteed money. I don't care how you look at it. There are no Deion Sanders out there anymore who are just a phenomenal, exceptional athlete. Howie Roseman is as good of a businessman as he is and as smart of a businessman. He can also be shrewd when he has to, and that was laughable to think that he wanted 3 years guaranteed. Now, you don't know what you're worth unless you ask for it. And that's anything you do in life, and I don't blame him for asking for 3 years guaranteed, but they couldn't realistically have thought the Eagles were going to buckle to that. Now, if he was like 27, 28, maybe they would have considered it a little bit more, but at 32, I don't think so. And we saw a few kinks in the armor as the season wore on last year. We talked about it throughout the latter part of the season and the playoffs that Slay was not that same guy who was playing the way he was playing the first half of the season. Is Father Time catching up to him? I don't know. I don't know how hard he pushes himself, what he trains like, but obviously from an organizational standpoint, that had to be taken into consideration. We're not giving a guy 3 years guaranteed. Now, Slay and his wife tried to put it out there, fake news. No, it wasn't fake news. Basically, you guys just had to eat a little crow and be a little bit more responsible about what you were asking for. You asked for it, you didn't get it. Take what you can get and run with it. Now, you have a better chance of winning here than you do anywhere else than you might have considered to go. Maybe one or two of the teams have legitimate chances. And the same thing with Bradbury, and this is just my opinion. My opinion is Bradbury tested the market, and I would imagine most of the teams that were offering him money are teams that are in rebuilding modes, like the Houstons, like the Chicagos. Chicago had almost $100 million in cap space.
Right.
Now, if I'm James Bradbury, 30 years old, and I got within 3 points of winning the Super Bowl, do I want to go back to a team that's starting over? And by the time they get to where they might want to be, it's time for me to exit the league. I want a chance to get that ring. I haven't won a ring. This team gives me the best chance to get back there when you stacked up the Eagles against the rest of the NFC. Mm-hmm. Gives me the best chance to get back there and possibly win a championship.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing right there, Yeah. It's comfort here. And like I said before, man, this is a destination place for veteran free agents because how they take care of their guys here. I mean, if I'd have played here, I'd still be playing right now at 50 years old. If I had this cake, camps and everything like they have with the Eagles. Now, I understand, everybody's probably doing the same thing, but not to the level of the Eagles. They take care of the guys that are older, a little longer in the tooth. They make sure that these guys are healthy enough to go into the game. I talked about it for years, you cannot go into a season and not practice as much as you practice. How do you harden your body? So you need calluses on your hands, from beating your body up. Well, they showed me altogether different. You don't need all of that. They shown it that, you can get to the Super Bowl with a cake schedule. I mean, not a cake schedule, but a cake practice schedule. You can do it, man. And they did it. They were outstanding this year. They were just healthier than everybody else. To go into this playoff season with everybody accountable, with the exception of Derek Barnett, is unheard of.
Absolutely.
Unheard of.
Yep. Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
crazy.
reason number 1,580, it kills that they didn't win the Super Bowl because everything's sort of set up just perfectly for you. So let me just real quick, just to put a bow on this, Barrett. So is your thought that Avante goes back to safety, Greedy plays the corner? Is that how you view this thing?
That's what I view.
Okay.
Or you flip-flop them. You put Greedy at safety and Avante back at that slot corner.
Okay.
I would say Avante stays a slot.
Well, it's also a possibility that the guy that's going to play opposite of Reed Blankenship is not in our locker room yet.
True.
Yeah.
True.
We didn't get CJ until almost into camp.
Mm-hmm.
We were almost into camp. We didn't get Bradbury until the summertime.
Yeah. The thing that people don't realize is how late things happened last year, and B, Howie is not. He's very patient. And the other thing I think he likes to see is once these guys get into OTAs and in the early goings in camp, you may see, all right, we're not good enough here. Like we got to figure something out at this position. They may do that. I know after the draft, people want the rosters to be finalized. It rarely works that way.
No.
He's a late mover.
Well,
Who's to say the Eagles won't use one of those first two picks to take a safety?
Not a safety.
They don't do it. They don't do it.
Right.
The only safety I like out there was Antonio Johnson. He's the only one.
Yeah.
But he may not be on the board. I can't see them using that 10th pick if they stay in the 10 hole at safety.
No.
That's not to say they won't use that 30th pick, or if they drop down to the second round, if he's on the board, they may take him there if he was still on the board. But I wouldn't put it past them to use one of those high picks to take a safety. Now,
I'm just saying this, Derek.
Yeah.
I cannot see them getting a secondary player right now at that 10th pick. If it's either
you're right,
it's either defensive lineman, or they're going to trade out of that slot.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because they got all these DBs. To me, it wouldn't. I mean, I'm not going to say that because I can remember but that was a totally different regime. But they had Bobby Taylor and what's his name in the office now, Troy Vincent. And Troy Vincent. Then they drafted those two kids that became, Lito Shepherd and them. And they became, 1 or 2 as far as, the best tandem corners we've had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, I've seen them do something like that before. But the likelihood of them getting a corner or even I can't see them doing a safety, but getting a corner back in the first round now.
I think corner's possible. I do. I believe corner's possible.
Think it is?
In the first round,
with them bringing Greedy in, I don't think it is
tough.
now. With them bringing Greedy in, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think a corner's that high on the priority list now.
Maybe, Derek. I don't know. I mean, they're old. Both of the corners are getting older now.
True,
look, it's possible. I think they would have to be someone they loved, sort of fell into their lap. I think it's. Look, you always, when you're talking about the Eagles in the draft, always start with the interior and the defensive line and the offensive line.
Yep.
Because here's the other part of this thing. You've lost a lot of depth. Dillard goes, Sayamalu goes. I know you're plugging Juergens in, but eventually I know we, think he's going to play forever, but Kelsey's not. You're getting thin there a little bit.
No, not getting thin. You're very thin.
Yeah, you're thin. And then defensive line, think about this. You're going to be Jordan Davis is going to have to, step up, obviously. So is Milton Williams, but you don't have the rotation you once had.
No.
There either. And we know how much, and I think Desai is going to continue that. That's just the organizational philosophy of just crank guys in and out, keep them fresh. That's how they got that many sacks. Not only are those guys talented, it's because they weren't gassed at the end of the year. So I would still look at defensive and offensive line too.
And the way they like to build that team, see, that's why I say Jalen Carter is the prime option for this team. If he clears himself, I think the Eagles would jump on him. If everything is cleared on him in terms of what he's dealing with right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he's considered the premier pass rusher out there. And considering there's a possibility that 4 quarterbacks could be taken in the first 9 picks, why wouldn't you take them?
I'm a little worried about him. And it's not just the car thing, which is very serious. 2 people lost their lives. But, he shows up at his pro day 9 pounds overweight from where he was at the combine and couldn't finish drills. Like, dude, how serious are you taking your craft? I don't know, man. There's a couple red flags on Jalen Carter. I'm a little worried.
I'll say this: if he makes it to 10, he won't make it past 11.
Yeah, I hear you, Barrett.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you, I got a couple little alarms that went
Well,
off.
you know what? But see, the Eagles' locker room is the best locker room for him.
Yeah.
That's why you have the Fletcher Cox, the Brandon Grahams, and they could handle him in the way he needs to be handled. They had the same type of notions about, our first rounder last year. His ex-teammate. So I can't see him coming into this locker room and not being in the best shape he's going to be in, because those guys are going to get on him.
Right.
He will be in shape going into camp. They will make sure Jordan Davis will let him know as soon as he comes in, bro, I came in with the same problem. And they're going to make sure you coming in shape. Just like we had worries about Jordan Davis, even after he got hurt, he came in and looked just as good then, as he did when he started the season off with being in shape. He didn't gain all that weight because they take stuff like that serious. And Fletcher Cox and BG will make sure this locker room can handle a guy like him. They can handle him as far as, being a nutcase, anything. You know what I'm saying? We know how to calm people down. We didn't know half the stuff that CJ DJ did, if he did anything.
Sure.
We still don't know. But
they kept it. If there was something going on, I'm not saying it was.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he, was anything other than the model citizen when he was here. But you don't get those type of things happening in this locker room because they know how to keep things amongst themselves and police themselves.
Well, not only that, but if they brought a Jalen Carter in here, you're putting him right back in the thick of things with his boys, N'Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis. It will be a natural transition for him in terms of him getting comfortable. Then he's got, like Barrett said, you got the big brother mentality. You got some of the best big brothers you could possibly have on that side of the ball in Fletcher Cox, in Brandon Graham, even Hassan Reddick. So you've got a good support group to put around him. If he is as talented as everybody says he is, and the way this team likes to build the team from the inside out in the trenches on both sides of the football, you can't pass that dude at number 10. There's no way you pass him, especially because you don't know what Derek Barnett's going to be like when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That dude's coming off ACL. That's not easy to come back from. Some dudes do. Some dudes never regain what they had before that.
Well,
he won't make it to 11.
Well, one of the things the Eagles, and Howie admitted as much, he made a mistake after the Super Bowl victory over the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. He said, I probably got a little too sentimental in bringing guys back. Do you find any of the guys, the older guys who were brought back, like Brandon Graham, like Cox, like Kelsey, whomever, that they brought back to be bordering on the too sentimental? Like, I think they're all still quality players. Like, I think they probably overpaid Fletcher a little bit, but for all the reasons we just discussed, you could justify it. Like, Kelsey's still the best at his position. BG's an 11 sack guy. Like, I don't see it. I personally don't. I mean, you're not a young team with obviously with these guys coming back, but I'm okay with the vets coming back that they brought back.
Yeah, this is not. Oh, you know what I'm saying? We're bringing these guys back for sentimental value. No, they brought Fletcher Cox back because you look at the free agent market. He was the best free agent out there in the market as far as defensive linemen that were available. Mm-hmm. They brought him back because he could still play. Right. He's still the best defensive lineman on our team right now at the defensive tackle position. So that's why they brought him back. Now, overpaying him, I don't care what they pay him because, number one, Howie's doing all that. It's not my checkbook. So whatever's clever with that. If Howie can get it under the cap, hey, I don't mind. When I look at BG, still a talented guy, still a locker room guy, but they brought him back at a number you couldn't refuse it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not paying him some outlandish money. So, like I said, good job, Howie. But what he brought was he's playing better now than he did 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? He's playing great right now. We're talking about the best center in the league. Kelsey is still the best center in the league.
Right.
So that was a no-brainer to bring him back. They might have overpaid him a little bit, but, you know what I'm saying? Even, he paid 12 last year. He's making 14 this year. But it's not my checkbook. I ain't got to, do anything about that. So
no, Barry, you're right, but it affects how you can maneuver with the cap.
Absolutely. But
that's why
why Howie gets paid the big bucks. That's why Howie was executive of the year in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's kind of a big deal right now. So If he can do it, so be it. So these weren't like sympathy sign backs or, hey, we got you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give you one last. No, these guys are still productive in what they bring to the table.
If Brandon Graham was playing 65% of the snaps, I would definitely say it's a sentimental bring back. But because he's only playing about 37%, it's a perfect role for him at age 35. Now, he'll be 35 when the season starts this fall.
Right.
For what he's asked to do, and he ended up being a double-digit sack guy in Jonathan Gannon's defense, it's not – you got $6 million for a guy who is double-digit in sacks, even if he is 35. You know, that's not bad money nowadays for a guy who's done what he's done in his league. To be with one team 14 years tells you what they think about him, not just as a player, but as a person, as a leader in that locker room, as a mentor in terms of showing young guys how to conduct your business, keep your nose clean, stay out of the media limelight for negative reasons. He is the perfect instrument for that. Bringing Brandon Graham back was not just about football. It's about a lot of different things that he gives that organization. And obviously, Brandon jumped at the opportunity to come back because he's told us, as well as he's told many people, he wants to finish his career here. It wasn't about his money. Brandon Graham stuck to his word because Detroit and Cleveland were hot and heavy after him. He could have gone there, finished out his career, and played for a lot more money. Even if it was on a 1 or 2 year deal, he could have got a lot more money in those places. But he wants to stay here in this culture and see if he can help. What did he say recently when it was announced? I want to try to win a Super Bowl with that dude, Jalen Hurts.
Right.
That says it in a nutshell.
Yes.
It's not about dollars and cents with him.
Absolutely.
Well
Absolutely. He can still play. He can still mix it up. Even bringing back Slay. Slay is still one of the top. He's a top 5 corner in the league. Like it or not, way he played towards the end of the season, it doesn't dictate how good he is. You know what I'm saying? He is still a good, very good corner. He's still one of the top corners in the league right now.
All right, let's get a quickie here, and we'll come back. We'll dig into some of the departures a little bit more. CJ, GJ among them, but there were others, Hargrave, et cetera. So we'll get into what they lost and just try to measure, okay, where is this team from where the season ended and where are they headed? We'll do all that when we come back again. A little later, Sixers playing unbelievable basketball right now, and Joel Embiid is just straight up on fire. So we'll get into all those kind of things when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group because, you know what a challenge it is to invest your money with the right people. You work too hard to let it go to waste and just to blow it all, right? And you want to make sure you're taking care of for the future. Your kids are taking care of your family, et cetera. I found the right person in Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business that you need help with, your employee benefits, kind of getting them off the ground. Jim can help you with any of those kind of resources and then some. All right. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover to Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him as well. Murray, MURRAY .Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
but as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
As long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross. Is the best vacation one that you find or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights or reminds you to go with the flow? to get your feet wet and your wheels spinning. One that lets you find your own rhythm or get carried away. Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this."
What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for joining us as we get back from our little sojourn. So, Barrett, I know you had fun in Florida. How'd you do fish-wise, man? Did you crush it? What was going on with you and Captain Tony down there doing your thing?
Bro, unbelievable. We fished 3 days straight, nonstop, hardcore fishing, bro.
Okay.
I just want you to know, the first day kicked my butt.
Really? What specifically?
Oh man, we're catching amberjacks, bro. These amberjacks were huge, bro. I caught one, bro, that was this probably about 50, 60 pounds, man. It was an amberjack, man. I'm talking about strong, fighting. I'm talking about I was so tired that my biceps and triceps were killing me. My shoulders. I needed a massage, man. That's how bad bro, I mean, it was crazy, man, crazy. And then you get it up, you almost there, and all of a sudden, bam, a shark will come get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We saw the one. What was the video we saw? Remember, Derek? And he was, or was it just a still? I'm trying to remember. He was trying to reel in something that looked really heavy. Your rod was literally like bent.
Bro, the rods were bending so far that it was almost hitting the boat. That's how big these fish are, and these were big time rods that we were working with. I mean, it was unbelievable, man. I felt Captain Tony said he almost died. I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah,
I was crying out. See, that's what I'm talking about.
He's
man.
dropping dimes on you.
Yeah, man, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I was gassed, and I suffered straight through it though. I got it up, bro. I got it there.
Brooks, what you don't know is Captain Tony was sending me pictures of you. And my favorite picture was you laying in the bottom of the boat, mouth open, dead asleep.
Bro, I needed a break, dog. I'm glad we were in a sports fishing. So I just went in, man. I laid down, man. Like we were going to another spot. I'm like, you know what? I got to take a nap, man. I'm going to lay down, man. But what Captain Tony didn't tell you, that he was laying right next to me, but then he woke up, took the picture, and then went back to sleep.
And then passed out.
Ain't hear about nothing. You know what I'm saying? The pot called the kettle black. He went in there first. You know what I'm saying? He just woke up before I did.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
You catch any tuna?
Bro, that's what happened the next day. Well, let me finish. Let me finish off with. So after we finished that day, man, we caught, he caught a kingfish. Bro, man, and we took all that fish, went back, had it all filleted up and everything.
Yeah, man.
And we took them to a restaurant, and they cooked our fish for us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, the fish was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. We ate so much, dog, that I couldn't wait to get back to the room and go to sleep.
Just pass out.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? And it was the next day, and we went out. We caught, bro. We might have caught 100 fish the next day. We were catching tuna upon tuna, and these tunas were like, you know, anywhere from 15 to 20 pound tunas. I mean, it was just nonstop action. Grab one, you know. After we got our limit, we start throwing them back. Throwing them back, man. That's how many tuna we were catching, dog.
Damn.
After we finished that day, went back, filleted them up, had tuna 4 or 5 different ways. Tuna tartare, tuna nachos, I mean, you name it, bro. We had tuna sushi roll. It was crazy, man. It was amazing how good the fish was, man. We got so much, man. Like, we were giving it to the people around us. You know, people, hey, come on, you can have something too. We telling people around other tables.
Oh, that's awesome.
Have something too. Yeah, it was great, man. I had a great time, man.
People who don't fish don't realize the difference in the taste of fish right out of the water compared when you buy fish in a store.
Oh,
the taste is so different.
Way different.
Oh,
way
my goodness.
different. I mean, you know, and to eat all that, man, and sit back, you know, and have people around us, you know, partaking it with us. And, you know what I'm saying, we had a great, you know, captain, you know what I'm saying. It was just a great time with great people, enjoying what you love, man. And you know, these are memories, bro. So once again, next year, a week after the Super Bowl, we're going down again. So I'm cordially inviting you guys right now to put in your schedule right now to come on down.
All right. Yeah.
Was the charter expensive?
Between the 4 of us, it was like $400 a day.
That's it?
Yes.
That's not bad.
A half day or all day?
All day, babe. All day.
Wow.
Well, the half day, we fished a half day, and it was only like $250. But you know, it was more because we tipped our cap, man. You know, you got to tip the cap. You know, he did everything, and then he went out to eat with us afterwards. And the first night he picked up the bill.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, he picked up the dinner bill. Yeah.
That's cool. That is cool.
He was great, man.
I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you had fun.
Those charter captains in Florida make some serious money.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many people, not just from the United States, but worldwide, go down there, whether it's off the coast of California, Florida, South Carolina. Them dudes make some money. Now, it's seasonal, but they make 6-figure incomes in like 6-7 months compared to some people not making that in a year.
Mm-hmm.
See, the only thing is that's messed up is that they have to, you know, all these you know, storms that came through the Keys, man. They're just starting. This storm was like 5 years ago. The Keys are just now starting to get back from that, and you know what I'm saying. And there's so many people that's out of work down there and everything else. It's tough, man.
Hey, you know, you might have got in and out of there at the right time, because one of the big stories people are watching nationally is that there's this algae bloom floating in that's coming up is almost as wide as the United States.
What?
That's how big this algae bloom is. It's, you know, coming up towards the Bahamas, Cuba, all this stuff, man. And they're saying it's like one of the worst algae bloom ever. And they're trying to figure out how they can control this thing, because it will directly affect fishing. If it hits the United States coast, especially that Florida coast, it's going to affect a lot of fishing down there.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hope not. Let's put it that way. Hey, CJ Gardner-Johnson at his press conference with the Detroit media, quote, "It is what it is. The past is the past. I'm here for now. I'm here now. Brand new team, new city, trying to win some games." You know, so for whatever it's worth, I'll pass along anything that he says of interest here as we move forward here. Let me give you a couple other.
Him and his agent were made for each other. When you consider some of the stupidity behind both of them, they were made for each other.
He says, "I have no bad blood. People overreact to a tweet in free agency. It was never disrespectful to the organization. Organization treated me like family. It's just got to do what's best for your family." Okay. Right.
All right. Backtrack.
Yep. That's a little damage control. So, all right. Let's look at the people who left, including CJGJ, which we touched on quite a bit, but he leaves 1 year, $8 million in Detroit. Detroit's going to be trouble. Detroit is going to be trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Make no mistake. It'll be good. You know, as much as it looks like Green Bay is going to take that big step back in the North, which I think they will eventually when this Rodgers thing, if it ever mercifully comes to an end and we don't have to deal with it anymore. You know, I think the Vikings, obviously with 13 wins and maybe having a better defensive coordinator, are going to be, you know, a tough team. But I think Detroit is going to really give Minnesota a run for their money in that.
I do too.
In that division. All right, but so back to who the Eagles lost. Let's go through this, guys, and you tell me the ones that are really going to hurt versus Javon Hargrave.
Big hurt.
That's a hurt.
That's a big hurt.
That leaves a mark.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, I thought TJ Edwards and Marcus Epps deals were pretty reasonable.
Yeah, they were.
All things considered, like, feels like they could have made that happen, man. Like that one, those two feel like maybe they just didn't love him that much. They liked him, but didn't love them. Didn't love him.
I think Edwards just wanted to go home.
Yeah, he's a Chicago guy.
Yeah, you know, he played at Wisconsin. You want to get, but hey, you can't pay everybody, dude. You still got that big price tag you got to account for coming up, and it hurts.
Right.
You can't pay everybody. You have to make strategic moves as much as you want to try to keep everybody. You can't, because he's got to try to fit these numbers. When that Hurts number comes out, you got to fit that under the cap as well. However they structure it, it's got to fit under this cap. So kudos to Howie for bringing back more people than I thought he was going to be able to bring back.
Right.
You got to get younger at some positions to be able to take care of that quarterback and to keep this train moving.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think it had a lot to do with them wanting Dean to play the Mike linebacker. They didn't necessarily want him to play the Will. I think they wanted to play the Mike linebacker. And because of that, I don't think that it would have worked with TJ, because TJ right now is better than the Kobe Dean, and which would force him to play the Will linebacker. And I don't think they wanted him at the Will. They want him to play the Mike linebacker and go up and being that Mike linebacker for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Is he big enough to play the Mike?
He's been that size his entire life, so that's what he keeps telling me. He's been that way his entire life.
I like he used his quote.
Yeah, you know, he's been that way his entire life. So he tells me that and say, "All right, I can play it, and I'm going to play it."
Okay, so here's the thing with that quote. It's a great quote, right? But when you were that size in high school, so were a lot of the other guys who were smaller. When you were that size in college, and I know he played at Georgia. Don't get me wrong, but still, you're playing with bigger cats here in the NFL, but we'll see. I think they clearly believe that those two guys can play, or you don't let some of these people go.
Yep. You know? And then the Epps, that was shocking to me, because he took a lot less money than I thought he was going to take, and I think that they needed him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not all the way convinced. I'm not like everybody else that is convinced that Blankenship is the answer. He's the starter.
Not either.
So let me give you a little interesting twist here. So Jim Trotter of the NFL Network says that after the Lions offered the 1 year, $8 million, the Eagles were given the opportunity to match and declined for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Do you think they just got to the point, and I trust Jim's reporting, if that's the case, do you think it just got to the point where they were like, hey, we moved on, man? Like, enough. Yep. I'm done playing these games.
They got tired of his antics. Yes.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want all that rhetoric? And, you know what I'm saying? They probably hid stuff and you know, really just tired of him, you know, doing him. You know, it eventually has to be a team concept.
Yeah.
It's more team than me. So, I mean, I know, you know, the gold standard, it means something in that locker room. Mm-hmm. You're not going to just do and act however you want to act.
Right.
In an Eagles locker room. Just like same thing in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh let the best receiver in a long time just leave. They wanted him out of it. They traded him for a box of Cracker Jacks.
Yep.
And some you know, and some planter nuts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They got him up out of there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play that, man. I've seen them. They did that twice, though 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, receivers could be prima donnas, and they got all those guys out of there who, you know,
That's
Holmes out of there. They got my boy Plex out of there, and you know, and then they went and got 80 out of there.
Yeah.
So they don't play that in their locker room. They don't play that. You know, there's a standard in which the Eagles have it, and I think CJ kind of broke that standard, and they were like, you know what, good luck.
Yep. Yep.
There are a lot of teams that will put up with a lot of antics off the field from players.
Yep.
Pittsburgh is not one of them. They are one of the best run organizations in the entire NFL. They are loyal. They are loyal to their players. They don't have a lot of turnover. Even when the public outcries to get rid of this one, get rid of that one, they've been screaming for years to get rid of Mike Tomlin. Yet Mike Tomlin keeps that team relevant every year. You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone a lot of times.
Yep.
But I will say this: the Rooney family has never buckled to outside pressure in any way, shape, or form. There's something to be said in this day and age when you look at how coaches turn over in this league. There's something to be said for an organization that has only had 3 coaches since 1969. Something to be said for that.
Yep.
That's respect at its finest, and that's why a lot of people want to go there because of the way they treat you, even if you're only there short term. How many times do you hear a lot of people talking negatively about the Steelers organization? Very seldom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I covered that organization for 10 years. It always fascinated me how they run it. They're very low key. There's not a lot of public distractions with that team. And they have been consistent in how they've handled their business, from the grandfather to the father to the son now running that organization. They have been consistent in terms of what their model is and how they want to run it.
Yeah. So CJGJ, Hargrave, you guys rank as the next biggest hit, so to speak. Edwards, Epps, Kaiser White, Miles Sanders, Sayamalu, Minshew, Pascal. Yeah,
as far as impact, you got to go to Sayamalu, but as far as I didn't think he was going to get the money he was going to get. That would have to be Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I was surprised. Carolina paid him well. They paid him like an upper
4 years
upper echelon running back,
and he was. He was a top 5 running back in the league. His numbers made it seem like he was a Pro Bowler. We tend to kind of look at him like, all right, it's just Miles Sanders. But around the league, he was a pretty big deal. You know what I'm saying? He was something everybody looked at like, all right, they have a running game because of Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. So because we're so used to that running back by committee, we didn't give him the just due to, others around the league looked at him like that. And Deuce and, the Carolina Panthers paid him accordingly. $25 million over 4 years.
I think he goes down as a really good Eagle. It's hard for a running back in this offense to be great. And so I think he goes down as a really solid Eagle. I thought he had a really good year. There were still things that frustrated you about him. Sometimes he would still bounce things outside, and he didn't do it as much as he used to when he was younger. He stayed healthy. He didn't put the ball on the ground, although they got a little lucky, with him in the Super Bowl twice.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I still think goes down as a good Eagle. He wanted to be here.
He was,
just, they were kind of done with him.
I think he was an okay Eagle.
Yeah, I'm not saying great. He was solid.
Yeah, like I think he underachieved 2.5 out of the 4 years he was here.
Okay.
Well, I told you guys before the season was over in January he wasn't coming back for whatever reason. They had already identified well before the conclusion of the season that they were going to move on from him for whatever the case may be. He had his best season as a pro. He only had 2 fumbles, and they were, I think, back-to-back games. He had 2 fumbles, which is a really good number for a running back nowadays. He's explosive. He can catch the ball. He improved as a blocker. He wasn't a great blocking running back, but he improved a lot as a blocking running back. But they had already identified that it was time to move on from Miles Sanders. So no matter what he did, they were of the mindset we're going in a different direction. Now, does Rashad Penny mean he's better? No. It's just that they were just looking for something different. I don't know what it was exactly that frustrated them the most about Miles. Maybe it was the fact that he still would not put his foot in the ground, just turn up the field every time. He was still trying to break stuff to the outside. Whatever the case may be, which I found really interesting, that a player, no matter what he did, couldn't change the opinion of the organization as it got down to crunch time in the season, that maybe we should consider bringing this guy back.
Organizations do that all the time, though.
Sure they do. Sure they do.
Even with me, I started my 6.5, 7 years of my first, years in the league. I was a starter. Then all of a sudden, bam, I leave Detroit and go to Green Bay. Now that everybody's labeling me a backup, how do I go from a backup and all my starts, and then go to being, I'm a starter, and all of a sudden I'm a backup, and can't start games. I play better coming off the bench. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm a starter, but you're going to label me that. So once teams get a notion of what they think you are, it's tough to get that label off of you. Really, really tough. Really tough.
Well, he's going to get an opportunity for sure in Carolina. Right, There's no doubt about that. And he's got the familiarity with Deuce, so that's a big help. And Frank Reich.
Frank, yeah.
Although was Frank gone?
What do you mean?
Frank
wasn't there. Frank wasn't there.
Yeah, but definitely Deuce. Okay.
Deucey.
All right. Is it an automatic to just say, hey, they're plugging Juergens in at guard, or could they go a different direction?
What directions do they go?
Could they draft somebody, maybe keep Juergens as your swing guy who can play guard or center in a backup situation, or is it definitely Juergens at the starter?
Well, you got to look at let me look at the lineup, because
I wouldn't count out Driscoll at that right guard spot. I think Driscoll's a better guard than he is a tackle.
Okay, he definitely is.
No question about it. There's no question.
They don't have a backup tackle right now.
Yeah.
And that's concerning to me. That's why I'm looking at that. The number 10 is just too. You can't get a guy and it wouldn't be sound to draft a guy at number 10 with the talent they have. I think Paris Johnson is the only guy, the kid from Ohio State, 6'6", about 210. He actually, ran a 4.97 at the combine. Really good athlete, but do I see him as being a starter starting off? No. When you're a top 10 pick, you should be a starter starting off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's why it's a possibility they might trade back. But when I look at who they have as far as backups, Brett Toth is still here. He's a guard tackle, swing tackle guy. They got Sewell Petta. They love him. He can compete for it. After that, you got,
well, Driscoll's still hanging around.
Yeah.
Driscoll, yeah. Driscoll's probably the only guy that can come in. I don't see any guy right now that can come in and the tackle position is really, really up in the air.
Yeah. And like right now, Driscoll's your backup left tackle. And he's your backup right tackle.
Yep.
Then it's Jared Williams, Fred Johnson. I mean, there are names on this depth chart that like
Julian Good-Jones.
Yeah, I don't pretend to even. I couldn't tell you.
Me neither. I don't know who Fred Johnson is. Frederick Johnson is.
I don't.
They got a Fred Johnson, a Roderick Johnson. They've got Julian Good-Jones, Jared Williams, Tyrese Robinson, Tom Cameron, Sewell Petta. We know Sue. We know Brett Toth. Yep. Brett Toth's the kid that came from the Armed Forces team.
Yep.
And they kept him around for a while now, guard, tackle, that type of player. So those are the two backups right now. Three backups I see that played in games here are Jack Driscoll, Brett Toth, and Sewell Petta.
All right, let's jump to the defensive side. You guys tell me what the depth chart looks like here. All right, for the defense.
Ooh.
I'm going to throw it at you. You tell me how you think this works. Let's assume Brandon Graham's starting, at least for right now. Although, we know edge is Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat, but Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox. This is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. Nakobe Dean.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Christian Ellis.
Christian Ellis, I think, has a shot for sure.
Either him or Davion Taylor.
Sean Bradley is in the mix, I guess.
Yep.
The Patrick Johnson.
And one end / stand-up guy. You got you've also got Kyron Johnson also.
Kyron, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, both of those guys. And then, your corners, we know it's Slay and it's Bradbury. And the question is, what do you do with the slot? If you keep it the way it was last year, it's Avante. And then you're looking at safety with all kinds of questions. I mean, there's still guys like Kayvon Wallace. There's Reed Blankenship.
Andre Shea-Charay,
who has been a special teamer. Greedy is now there.
Josh Jobe.
Who you could plug in as the slot. Yeah.
Yep. You got Zach McPherson also.
Yep.
And Josiah Scott.
Yeah. And that's it.
So right now, your pencil-in starters are Kayvon Wallace and Reed Blankenship as the 2 starting safeties. Your starting slot corners, Avonte Maddox. Your 2 outside guys are Darius Slay and James Bradbury.
Yeah.
I think they're going to move Avonte Maddox to safety with Reed Blankenship, moving Greedy to the slot, and then have Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside. I think you can play with that.
I got to tell you, in doing this exercise, I'm concerned here. Like, there's some concern.
I'm glad you said that. Go ahead, because I'm going to ask you both a question. I'm interested because I've been thinking about this for a week since this past weekend. So
I'm worried about linebacker and safety, man. I mean, I'll just flat out. The defensive line, if Davis can play, I like Milton Williams, I think maybe more than most. I do.
One above all. Says.
I worry about, I don't know that Reed Blankenship's ready. I don't know that, somebody Patrick Johnson. There's a long way to go here, and they can still get people, and they're going to draft people. But this is you're putting a lot in this offense to drop 30-something every high 30s. It feels like every week.
It works. It can happen. It works.
Yeah,
it works these days. That's the formula that won the Super Bowl last year. And I think they're going to be good enough to do it. I really do think they're going to be good to do it. They need to draft a tackle, a real swing tackle. And in order to do that, you're going to have to go high to do it. You're not going to find those diamond in the roughs all the time like you found with Jordan Mailata.
Yeah. And
we know Lane is getting a little older too. Dude, he was drafted in 13.
Yeah, I know. He and Kelsey have been around a long time. Really
Kelsey 11.
That's why it's insane that they're still playing at the level they're playing at. But bro, nonetheless, they're not getting any younger. You're right.
No sacks for 2 years.
Insane. I mean, it's
no QB hits in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
how is that even possible?
Mm-hmm.
They're phenomenal and they have a great coach.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you this. Let's look at this. Let's go back to this defense. Are you guys content with the fact that, or are you pleased with the fact that they were able to bring back more people than we thought on this defense? You could say, well, good. This is a defense basically that helped us rack up all these astronomical numbers and get to the Super Bowl. Or do you say this is also the same defense that got shredded like cheese against the Kansas City Chiefs? See, I've been thinking about this all weekend, and I'm not sure where I am right now. It's nice that you have a good nucleus back, but that nucleus got exposed.
Yeah, it did.
And I got concerns more than I have comfort right now in terms of the way this defense is looking, to be honest with you.
Yeah. The big concern with me is still run defense. I know we'll be okay in pass defense. We have guys that can rush the passer. Brandon Graham can rush the passer. Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, they can make it happen. Fletcher Cox, Mildred, they can get to the quarterback. They can create havoc up there. But can those guys stop the run? Do we have linebackers that can stop the run? Nakobe Dean, Christian Ellis, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley. Can they sure up at those two? We don't have enough right now. We don't have enough linebackers to play in a game, really.
No.
We don't have enough. There is not enough guys to play, right now. Because you play with 3-4, you play with 4 linebackers. 4. And 2 Mike linebackers, like Mike, I call it Mike and a Jack. You got 2. You got the Mike position, you got the Jack position. Then you have the Sam and the Will on the line of scrimmage. Sam and the Will are 2 guys that, really are blitzing type of guys that drop off coverage every once in a while. Like, how many times you have James Harrison dropping off the coverage or Joey Porter dropping off the coverage.
Right.
So those guys essentially be guys who be rushing the passer. I do like Josh Sweat lining up, head up over a tackle. His long, lanky, I believe he's going to be really, really good there. I also think that BG is going to be very good lining the head up over a tackle because his ability to go inside and outside, he'll be able to beat guys in there. Fletcher Cox being out there also. This could be a very interesting defense because I don't know who Sean Desai is.
That's the thing. What twist is he going to put on? What does he emphasize? What is he going to, in terms of the draft? Who is he going to encourage them? We need this because I like to do this way as opposed to the way that we did it. That's some of the stuff that we just don't know, right now about the site. It's not like you're bringing back the same staff who has the same.
Exactly. Who is he? What's going to be his identity?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some of that. Let me ask you before we get off this. Marcus Mariota comes in, 1-year deal. Not crazy money, but, backup quarterback kind of money. Do you feel good about him if he's got to take the reins for a few games? Do you think you've upgraded that spot from Gardner Minshew, who moves on to Indianapolis?
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
You won't have to change the offense a bit. He has athleticism enough to run the offense the way it's supposed to be run. Instead of having to change the offense how you had to change, last year. Marcus Mariota is good enough to run the read option, to run the zone read. He's a veteran presence in the locker room. He's been there. He's played there. He's been a starter. I think this is a good pickup for him, a really good pickup for him.
When you consider, and we talked about this prior to taking a week off, when you looked at all the quarterbacks that were out there on the market, I think he's the best of the best in terms of what you need him for. And Barrett's right. You won't have to change up the offense much. My concern with Marcus Mariota is you don't know which game he's going to show up. I think this dude has a dual personality. You go back to the guy who his second year in the league looked like that quarterback that came out of Oregon when he had 26 touchdown passes and only 9 interceptions. Then all of a sudden, his third year, he has 13 touchdowns and 15 INTs, and he's been that third year guy more so than that second year guy from that point on in his career. Mm-hmm. You look at what he did down in Atlanta just this past season. He'd come out and have one great game followed up by 2 bad games, and you're wondering what happened to this dude. Mm-hmm. What really happened to him? Now, luckily, he's in a situation where he may not have to play much. But if he comes to a point, and I hate to say this, because of his style of play, I believe there could be another game or two where Jalen Hurts is going to have to sit out because of his physicality and his style of play, that you're going to have to insert a Marcus Mariota. And I feel good about the fact that he can run that system that Nick Sirianni deploys better than Gardner Minshew. But I don't know who's stepping on the center. It's hard to get a gauge on who this dude is because he hasn't been that dude since his second year in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, man.
Good point. Real good point. All
right, three times in one show. Okay, I got to stop. I'm done for the week. 3 times in one.
Why don't you drop the mic like the agency did for us?
Let me take this mic up. If I wouldn't break this desk, I'd probably drop the mic right now.
I hear you. Let's do a little NFL talk. Let's hit that. Some of the comings and goings in the past week in the league itself, not just the Eagles. We'll branch out who's helped themselves, who took major hits, who's gotten better. We'll do all of that when we come back. So don't go anywhere. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Pro Action Restoration. You might have a home, you might have a business, and you've unfortunately gone through the pain and inconvenience of water, of fire, smoke, mold damage, and you're not really sure who to turn to. Well, Pro Action Restoration is the place you turn to because they're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you personally, I called them on a Saturday. They got right out. They fixed the problem. The crew was great. The price was right. Everything was on point. They were unbelievable to deal with, just beyond professional. Pro Action Restoration is licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So it's water, it's fire, it's smoke damage, it's mold remediation, but it's beyond that. Okay. It could be, if you're not even sure, just reach out and call them and they'll let you know. They're great for consultations. 610-623-3760. That's how you reach them. 610-623-3760 or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Sports Take. Pound that like button if you could, my friends. We would appreciate that. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. Also, tell a friend. Tell a friend. Let's spread the word. Let's blow this bad boy up, man. And we certainly appreciate all of you. And it's been, man, we're coming up on a year, believe it or not, pretty soon, man. On April 18th. But it's been a lot of fun for us.
A year.
I know
already.
I'm telling you, man. It's time flies when you're having fun. That's all I can tell you.
Dealing with Barrett for a whole year.
That's a good point.
You don't see me sitting here, man. You saying that out loud, bro.
I couldn't see you. You blended into the blue background.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm blue.
That's right. He sneaks up. But no, we've gotten the most daily views on the channel, and we do appreciate that. We're not saying that to brag. We're saying
we do.
We're saying it to thank you. So just to put that out there. And we promise Barrett won't be blue tomorrow. He's going to do some kind of magic, some kind of voodoo, and all of a sudden he won't be blue. We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. So a couple things NFL-wise, guys. One being the Cowboys traded for Brandon Cooks, which means they're probably out on Odell Beckham Jr. What an interesting career for Brandon Cooks. Like, the guy usually produces wherever he is, yet he's bounced around a ton, but you never hear that he's a bad dude or any of that. It just, I don't know, one of those weird things.
He's played for 4 different teams in 9 years. And when you look at his numbers, you're right, Rob. He's averaged over his career almost 14 yards a catch. He's had 6 in 9 years. He's had 6 1,000-yard seasons. He went to New England for 1 year, had a 1,000-yard season, and he was gone. He went to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, what is it about him? Because I tell you what, Duke can flat out run. He's a blazer. He can flat out run. And I know people don't want to hear this, but I think he's going to be a good fit with the Cowboys for what they need. He will take a lot of pressure off of CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup in that offense. Now, can Dak get him the ball? I don't know, because after what we saw from Dak last year, there's another quarterback. I don't know who Dak Prescott is anymore.
Yeah, that's the big question, Derek. Yeah,
that's a huge question. But Brandon Crooks can go get it, man. He can still go at 29 years of age. He can flat out go. That's why when I saw it, I'm like, doggone it. I didn't want to see him go there, of all places.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Interesting move there for sure. I loathe to even bring it up, but we're still in a holding pattern with Aaron Rodgers and going to the Jets. It feels like now.
Who?
I know. So he went on the Pat McAfee show last week and said, "I want to play for the Jets. It's not me. People are making it out to be. I have all these. I'm doing all these things. I'm not. I want to be on the Jets." Essentially just said the Packers are now dragging their feet and they're trying to get the most out of the Jets that they could possibly get. But that's why we're still in this holding pattern. Does it get done soon so we can stop talking about him? I'm hoping, I'm praying.
I think it's tricky because of the money involved, the guaranteed money, almost $60 million. Like who pays what? Green Bay's going to take a big cap hit no matter what they do with him. And if Green Bay decides to call the trade off and Rodgers says, okay, I'm retired, Green Bay's still stuck paying that guaranteed money, number one. Number two, look at what Seattle got for Russell Wilson. 2 first-round draft picks. They got 5 draft picks and 4 players out of that trade.
Yeah.
Now, is Aaron Rodgers worth less than that? Aaron Rodgers is a surefire Hall of Fame. Is he worth less? But Joe Douglas is a very shrewd businessman. Joe Douglas is much, and you can tell they already want him. They went out and got some of his boys from Green Bay. It's going to be like Green Bay East.
Lazard.
With the Jets.
Yep.
You got Lazard. They're going after Mercedes Lewis. They're going after Randall Cobb. So it's going to be like Green Bay East, But the fact that Rodgers got ticked off because Adam Schefter reported that Rodgers had a list of players he requested the Jets to go after. And Rodgers basically told Adam Schefter, good try, but lose my number.
Right.
Because Rodgers said on Pat McAfee's show, I never requested the Jets to go get anybody. Well, it looks like he did because they couldn't wait. Alan Lazard ain't worth $44 million. I'm sorry. He's a nice receiver, big body, 6'5", decent route runner, decent. But $44 million, that shows you how desperate the Jets are to get Rodgers in there. Is Aaron Rodgers worth anything less than 2 first-round draft picks?
I think he is at this age, Derek.
At 39?
Yeah, I think I don't think they're going to get 2 1s. Let me put it that way. And this might be where they're haggling. I think you're going to get a 1 and something else, but I don't think it's going to be 2 1s. Really? Now, the problem, if you're the Jets, how do you pivot off of this? If it doesn't come down, like, what do you do? That's the issue that they have.
You sign Alan Lazard based on the fact you think you can get Rodgers in there. If he doesn't come in there, you got Alan Lazard catching passes from
and Nathaniel Hackett's there too.
And Mike White is gone. Mike White signed elsewhere now.
Mike White went to Miami, right? Isn't that where he ended up?
I believe he did. But now you're back down to Zach Wilson. That's it. Mm-hmm. And you already said Zach Wilson is not starting for you this year.
Mm-hmm.
So who's throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Alan Lazard?
They are stuck right now if they don't get A-Rod. Bottom line, they put everything, they banked on this happening. And by all means, I think it is going to happen. They have no choice but to make it happen.
Well, Joe Douglas is a shrewd businessman. He's not going to mortgage the whole farm to get this.
Exactly.
But you've already put pieces in play in telling everybody that we're getting Aaron Rodgers in here. If I'm Green Bay, I'm sitting back and I'm stringing this thing out as long as I can, because either way, Rodgers is going to come back, which will tick people off, but you'll have a future Hall of Famer at the helm of your offense, or he retires. You still got to pay the money. And number two, you have a guy who you may sit in the bench, just like you did with Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, who's chomping at the bits to play. And all the reports are this kid's got talent. We just need to see it. So Green Bay's in a good position right now. Either way, except for that major cap hit. You notice that Green Bay hasn't done anything in free agency? Because I think they can't, because they don't know how this is going to play out, and they can't go out and get all these pieces they might want because they're stuck right now as well. But I think when push comes to shove, Green Bay's in more of a driver's seat than the Jets are at this point.
No question. All right, the big one that just came down yesterday, Adam Thielen leaves the Vikings. We knew that. They had released him. 3 years in Carolina. Carolina needed all kinds of receiving help, man. If you're you know, if you're them, there weren't a whole lot of weapons there, frankly, for whoever they take it, you know, 1 overall. Let's dig into that for a minute before we get into Thielen. Are we thinking Stroud? Are we thinking Bryce Young? Are we thinking they go outside the box and grab Will Levis or Anthony Richardson? I'm feeling CJ Stroud. How about you guys?
I am also.
I agree with you. Ooh, wow. That's gonna be interesting. Man,
the risk. Look, I love Bryce Young. Don't get me. I love the guy, but he is little. He is little. Stroud's got all the tools. The only problem is a lot of the Ohio State quarterbacks. Now, I don't know what you want to count Burrow as. He finished at LSU, but the Ohio State quarterbacks haven't really panned out the way you would have hoped, at least thus far. Now, time will tell with some of the guys. Justin Fields, he needs weapons too. That's not his fault. But they haven't necessarily worked out great in the NFL.
You know, Carolina has become one of the more interesting talked about teams during this offseason with the coaching direction they went in. Frank Reich, Deuce Staley, they now elevate themselves up to the #1 overall pick in the draft. They just now signed Adam Thielen. Speaking of which, by the way, we're supposed to have Mike Kay on tomorrow, who covers the Carolina Panthers for ESPN.com. So it's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say about what's going on down there in Carolina. But if you are you going to hit the ground running with a rookie quarterback? You know, I mean, you got pieces in place. I don't think they're going to be a division winner, but I do think they have a nice nucleus of players on both sides of the ball that can win more games than they lose. It's all predicated on who's your field general under center.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be fascinating what they end up doing, and I think they have a really good between Reich and the other offensive people there, a lot of good foundations in place for whomever they take. All right, so they take.
Wait, but see,
yeah.
What type of offense are they going to run? See, that's I'm sitting there trying to think. What are they going to run? I mean, they're going to try to run what they ran with Carson. Do they see this new wave stuff going on with the way Hurts runs the?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do, Barrett. If they're smart, they cater to the strengths of whichever quarterback they take, and they borrow a lot from whatever offense they ran, either at Ohio State or Alabama, or wherever. That's what I would do. I'm not forcing the kid to just run my system.
All right, you got Stroud. Stroud is a drop back quarterback.
Yeah, that's
he's not an athlete like you know, Hurts or Mariota or anything like that.
It's not his game, right?
But would you see what's working in the league right now with the Allen, Hurts, you know, guys like that, you know, Patrick Mahomes. You see that's working though.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't kind of want to cater. That's tough, man. You know, because I mean, as an offense, which way do you go? You see what's working right now in the NFL and how it stretches defenses. It stretches you out. You know, it puts stress out there on the wide receiver position. It puts stress on your running game. It's just a new wave of quarterbacks coming to the league with the skill set to do that. Hence, that's why I don't know which guy you go with. You know, because I'm saying Stroud, but Richardson, man. But at the #1 pick,
yeah, like Richardson and Levis have pretty crazy upside, but also
yes,
the farthest floor too. Like they could be a big swing and a miss. You know,
bro, they can throw a country mile, and plus they can run though, man.
Yeah,
that's what everything's happening now.
Look at what Carolina has right now in place. If you draft CJ Stroud, you have Andy Dalton and Matt Carroll, who they were high on as your quarterbacks already in house. You have Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard's a good running back. You have Adam Thielen, Laviska Shenault, and Terrence Marshall Jr. as your trio of wide receivers. You have Hayden Hurst as your tight end. You got some pieces in place right now, you know, to do some damage, man. I mean, They got some good talent down there right now, man.
Yeah, they do.
They're going to trade Corral. I think Dalton will back him up, and then they'll figure something else out. But that could be somebody if someone's looking for not a project. He never got a chance last year, but yeah, they do. I think they're going to be and the thing is, they're in the greatest division to try to make a move on.
Yeah.
You know.
By default, they're in a division that sucks. So
they are. You know, New Orleans has Carr now, and they'll be better offensively. They're still not great. You know,
I'm looking at their defensive side. They have Brian Burns, Yatur Gross-Matos, Shaq Thompson. They have Von Bell as safety, J.C. Horn at one corner. They also have Xavier Woods as back there as well. Dude, I don't know. I might pick them as my favorite. I don't know to win that division. I don't know. I mean, I understand. You know, you got Derek Carr down there with the Saints now. That's huge for them. But I don't know, man. Carolina might surprise some people this year. Frank Reich is your coach. You know, Deuce Staley's your assistant head coach down there. They're putting together a really nice nucleus of people down there.
Agreed. But yeah, but interesting team to keep your eye on.
Yep.
Mike Gesicki goes to the Patriots. I think that's a really nice move.
Yeah.
You talk about he's not your prototype tight end where he's going to be blocking anybody. That dude can catch the ball down the field. He can.
He can.
He can. Yeah,
that's a quarterback's best friend right there as a tight end.
Yeah, that's a nice little weapon there for
yep.
I like this move for Seattle. Julian Love ends up going to Seattle.
Yes.
Now they got paid, but that's also a blow to the Giants for sure too. But that's a good little move for Seattle, you know, picking up Julian Love.
Absolutely, Seattle is slowly but surely finding pieces to make that defense come up to closer to what the offensive output was last year. Mm-hmm. And Seattle's another one of these teams, a big question mark, but they're going to do like they did this past season. They're going to jump up and surprise some people that they shouldn't beat. And they may lose a few games that they shouldn't lose, but Seattle's going to be an interesting team. There's a number of interesting teams across the NFC. I mean, Atlanta, Carolina, Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're on the same page as the Eagles. They're going to be interesting teams, though.
I agree.
Look at Washington.
Well,
I like Jacoby Brissett with Washington.
You throw I would say I would go as far as to say Washington, Detroit, Carolina, Seattle would be the guys I would look at here in that league, you know, in that conference.
Yep.
For sure. Zeke Elliott cut by the Cowboys. You know, we saw this coming. We saw the writing on the wall. This one wouldn't surprise me if this lasts a while with him in terms of not signing anywhere. Maybe even into camp. That it could be one of those situations where, you know, he kind of looks like he's on the back end a little bit, but if a team gets an injury, you know, you break that glass in case of emergency, and then he could play himself into maybe a 1-year deal, like a prove it and have a good year and get another year if possible, if he's still got enough gas left in the tank.
See, that's it right now. He has a lot to prove, man. And everybody keeps saying that he doesn't have it. We didn't see it. So he has something to prove. I'm ready to see. He should have had something to prove last year for the past 2 years when they saying he just didn't have it anymore. So maybe he just doesn't have it.
I agree. I'm leaning more towards it's just not there anymore.
Right. I can't see him being anything other than what we've seen.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hear you.
With him, I think he could be a good situational back. I mean, the dude's what? The thing is, he's only 27 years old.
It's crazy. It doesn't feel like he's like 32.
He's only 27 years old.
I know.
Think about that.
And,
are you serious?
Yeah.
27 years old.
I couldn't believe it. I saw that the other day.
I did not know that.
No.
I thought he was real old.
Now, in seven seasons, he's had 1,881 carries. That's a lot of carries for a back.
Especially early. He got they just milked him early.
Oh,
his first 4 years in the league. Now he missed 6 games in 2017, missed 1 game in 2018. But his first 4 years in the league, he had 322 carries his rookie year, 242, 304, and 301. That's a lot of carries for a young back. He had 3 of those 4 years, he was over 1,300 yards rushing in each year. The 1 year in 2017 where he only played 10 out of 16 games, he was a 983, so he was close to another 1,000-yard season. His entire career, he's averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Last year, just this past year, he still had 876 yards rushing on 231 carries. He averaged 3.8 yards a carry, but he had 12 rushing touchdowns. So he could be a good situational back for somebody that's not looking for a so-called feature back anymore, but is a great complement to whatever you're doing in your backfield. That dude, he's put a lot of wear and tear. The Cowboys used and abused him, no question about it. But at 27, if you put him in a role similar to like a Brandon Graham's role, I think he could still be a dangerous running back in the NFL.
Yeah, if you're thinking feature, then shame on you, because I don't think he holds up. And he has lost a step too. You saw it. Like, you would see the difference when Pollard would get a carry, and then when Zeke would get it. It was just different. It just looked a lot different, man. In Dallas, that's for sure. I don't know if we hit this or not. Jimmy G goes to the Raiders. Solid move for them. I kind of know what he is. He can definitely get you to the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying he's getting the Raiders to the playoffs. I'm just saying he can get you to the playoffs if you have the right parts around him, which they actually do have nice pieces. I think they could be solid, but how far ultimately, where does he get you? I don't know. I think they would fall into your interesting category in the AFC. Right?
Yeah, I agree. You're no question about it. You got the offensive weapons. There's no question about that. But if Josh McDaniels cannot win, hi there, Robbie.
Hi, Derek.
Good to see you over the bar.
How are you? Hi.
But if Josh McDaniels can't win with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, say what you want to say about Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is good at managing games.
Yeah, solid.
If you can't win with him, you cannot have another losing season with Jimmy. You've gone from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. If you can't get a winning season with Jimmy Garoppolo, you're not going to beat her after 2023. Plain and simple. You have too much talent on the offensive side of the football. You got a great running back. You've got a trio of great pass catchers on that side of the football. And, you have to find a way to close the gap between you and the Chiefs in that division. And let's face it, the Raiders are a team that's not afraid to spend money and to make, drastic decisions, which they've done with a move like this. Jimmy G can win ball games for you. He's more of a manager, but he can win ball games for you. And he's not going to put your team, more times than not, he's not going to put your team in a bad situation that could cost you games.
And that's what you know about him. Like if everything else is taken care of itself, he's not going to hurt you in that sense, which sometimes is half the battle, in that league for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. I think we lost Barrett.
Barrett had an appointment to take care of.
He had stuff to do. So Barrett rolled, but we'll foster on, Derek. I think we can handle it.
We'll forge ahead, Rob.
Let's go.
On this first day of spring.
On this first day of spring. I know you're excited.
I'm so happy. Happy.
Rita's is free today I think from what I'm hearing. So
wait, Rita's open today?
Hearing it's first day of spring.
What?
You might want to get out there. That was all I'm saying there.
My family loves Rita's, man.
A little treat for the kids, for the grandkids, and all that.
What? Oh, you shouldn't have told me that.
You're welcome. Okay.
Now, I don't want to get over there and tell. Oh, it's just the little Dixie cups that are free.
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
No.
All right, what's your favorite? What's your go-to? What is your
lemon? The lemon gelati.
Lemon's good. I like the cherry gelati.
I love that lemon gelati. If I run over there and they tell me the Dixie cup is free, I might cause a riot. You might see me on a TikTok, in handcuffs.
Host Derek Gunn taken out.
It could be a handcuff situation. I want the full arsenal, Jack. I want the big one for free. I want to enjoy every bit of it on the first day of spring.
I do like the gelati. All right, let's get a quickie in. Let's come back. We'll mix in some Sixers, Derek, because they are scorching as we speak. They're on fire. 8 straight wins.
Hey, wait, Kevin Savard. Yes, I did kiss my grills. Thank you very much.
Is that what you do on the first day? You christen them that way? All right, that's good.
That way. Yep.
That's good to know. All right,
I bring them all together and I tell them, hey, look, it's going to bring a great spring and summer. Right? On 3, break.
Let's be on the same page. All right, so we'll do some Sixers. We'll do some NCAA tournament. Phillies are 10 days away. 10 days away from the start of their season. If you want to feel even warmer,
that's
there
great.
You go. Trey Turner going bananas, by the way, at the World Baseball Classic. For people who haven't noticed, he's going absolutely nuts. So we'll do that. We got some good birthdays, some good movies, all told. We got a strong hour coming up for you. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's come back and we'll hit it all. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right now, time to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Perfect time of year, spring, right? Got to get those trees taken care of. Flynn Tree Service is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any type of tree issues in your yard, your property, whatever, they're just a quick phone call away, and they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, we've had a pretty fair winter, right? But we may have that little last push. It's a good time to get your trees evaluated before anything crazy hits. You go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross. Is the best vacation one that you find, or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights, or reminds you to go with the flow? To get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm, or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this."
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. That's Gunner. I'm Rob. We're hanging out with you on this Monday, the start of spring, which is exciting. Speaking of that, so the Sixers play the Bulls tonight, Derek. They have been rolling here. They are 48-22 on the season right now. They're in second place in the East. They're only 2.5 back of Milwaukee up top now. They have they've been on fire. I mentioned 8 straight wins. And, you know, the charge has been led by Joel Embiid. Derek, he's had 9 straight games with 30-plus points, which is the most ever in franchise history. That surpassed both Allen Iverson and Wilt Chamberlain. That just to put it in that kind of category, what this guy's doing. He's averaging 33.5 points, 10.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.7 blocks, shooting 54.6 from the floor, 85.5 from the free throw line, and has now moved ahead of Jokic in the MVP odds. It's been quite a run that he's been on right now.
I want to discount the MVP odds because for whatever reason, it doesn't come through Philadelphia. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I agree with you. He is the odds-on favorite right now, but I'm not going to get excited about Joel winning the MVP because I don't know what the heck's going on, why a Philadelphia player can't get that doggone honor. But you're right. He is on fire right now. Every time he plays, though, I mean, they haven't been resting him as much as I thought they would at this point.
Played a lot of back-to-backs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know Barrett is of the mind, I don't care how you get in the playoffs, just get in. And if you get on a roll. But, you know, before we took the week off, they were like 4.5 behind Milwaukee. Now they're creeping a lot closer. I don't care what you say. If you got to play a 7th game in any series, I want that game in my backyard. Yeah. I don't want it to be on the road because any and everything can happen, man, on the road. You know, a crowd noise does something to home teams in terms of firing them up in the NBA. Seen it happen too often in regular season games, especially with the way everybody shoots threes. The fundamentals of basketball are out the door. Dudes drive the paint, pass up a layup, and kick it back outside for a 3. You miss, you make, you let teams get back in closer to you when it looks like you're going to blow them out. I hope to continue this trend, but I keep crossing my fingers that nothing else happens to Joel, because now we're getting to that point of the year. You're thinking something's about to happen. You just know it is. The foot's still not 100%. He's taking a pounding. He's pounding people, but he's taking a pounding as well. Yeah. You know, and I'm just saying, please don't let anything happen. I like the fact that Harden, you know, during this run, if you think about it, Harden has not always been the second leading scorer.
No.
You know, it's been divvied up to a number of people.
Yeah.
There's more people contributing now to the success of this team than there was prior to this run. And that's a good thing. Bodes extremely well as you get ready for the playoffs, man, because you're going to need depth and rotation to go a long ways in the second season.
No, you're right. And if you look at it, it's, you know, Harden and Maxey are kind of hand in hand. Harden's 21.7, Maxey's right at 20. But you're right. It could be either one of those guys. Hopefully somebody else steps up. But the thing that's been so impressive about Harden, too, is he's averaging almost 11 assists per game.
Yes.
You know, he's really become a distributor and a playmaker. Not that he hasn't always been a scorer. We know that. He still can go to that well when he needs to go to it. But he and Joel have developed a real chemistry, man. And whether it's the pick and roll where Embiid gets the pass right there at the nail, like essentially foul line and maybe slightly extended, which is money every time he shoots it.
Yeah.
Or just Harden running the floor, kind of leaving it for Embiid, and he comes in with the power slam. I mean, it's been a nice run, and you look at it now, and I know the Boston has been their kryptonite here. But they're now, you know, Sixers are 48-22, Boston's 49-23. So the Sixers have a better winning percentage. Boston's played a couple more games more. But they're nipping at the heels here of Milwaukee, man. And really no team in you know, the entirety of the league is hotter than the Sixers. I mean, nobody's even close right now with those 8 straight wins, 9 out of the last 10.
No, and Boston seems to be fading fast. They're 5-5 in their last 10 for whatever reason. It seems like they've hit a wall. You know, I still expect them to be a power come playoff time, and I still say Boston right now is the odds-on favorite to win the East. I'm not the East, but to win the Eastern Conference in the playoffs. But for whatever reason, they're not playing up to Boston basketball right now. I don't know what it is. They're healthy, so it's not like they're really nicked up. They're healthy. It's just that they're not getting the wins now. But you're right, 76ers are on a roll right now. And the thing is, you can't say anything negative about Doc right now.
No.
You can't say, you know, as much as we mentioning that name makes us cringe, you got to give him his props. You know, he's handled his bench well. I think Joel's averaging like 35, 36 minutes a game.
Yeah.
39, 42 minutes a game. That's a big help. But the fact that dude takes such a pounding and everybody focuses on stopping him, yet he has been unstoppable. I just don't want him to see him come down wrong on somebody's foot going up for a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you almost feel like that's the only thing that can
stop him.
Screw this thing up. Obviously we'll have to see what ends up happening if they finish 1-2. You they're going to get Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals
Yep.
if that's the way it goes. But there's obviously a lot of hurdles to get past because they haven't gotten past the second round with this group. But yeah, I mean, that's the really fascinating part of all of this. And there's a lot of teams after you get past Boston, like there's a drop off from the first three to everybody else. And Cleveland's there and they're in the mix, but the Sixers have shown they beat them on the road last week. The Knicks are, I would categorize the Knicks as a very pesky, dangerous team. But they're not great, but they're pesky.
That's the one team, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. That's the one team in the East to keep an eye on come playoff time.
Yeah,
they're a very athletic team. They get up and down the floor fast. They play decent defense, not great. They can shoot. They have a bunch of guys that can shoot, guys that can create off the dribble. The Knicks is going to be a team, I think, that's going to hurt somebody in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one, even more so than Cleveland. I think the Knicks are a dangerous team to have to go up against, especially if you get stuck playing them early in the playoff format.
No, I agree with you. And they're, they have some life this year that they haven't had in a while, and they get that. But I agree. I'm going to go back to your initial point. I don't care what the situation is. Give me home court advantage every single time.
Yes, man. Come on, man. Yeah,
every single time. It doesn't matter, and I get this can be a challenging place to play, but you know what? I mean, the same thing happens in Boston. The same thing happens in New York. It's not uncommon to see these things happen where there's, if the team isn't playing well, the fans are going to let them hear about it, whatever. But you're right. I mean, Doc deserves props. I think he's handled Embiid perfectly. I'd be really curious to see what they do here going down the stretch. He's generally tended to give Harden the second of a back-to-back off. Not that Embiid hasn't gotten a couple here and there, but it's been more Harden management, I feel like, than Embiid, load management.
Yeah.
They're in a little stretch. Like, you need to take care of business tonight and Wednesday. They're both against the Bulls. They should be both winnable games. But then now, this is where this thing being so tight in the standings is going to get interesting. Go to, on Friday, Golden State, Saturday at Phoenix, Monday at Denver, Wednesday back here for Dallas. And Toronto's not great. You get Toronto, but then it's at Milwaukee and Boston here. So that group of games all the way up until April 4th, we're going to know. I mean, I think worst case of any, I don't think they can drop. Let me put it to you this way. I don't think they drop into the 4 slot. I think worst case.
I don't either. I agree. I agree with you 100%. And right now, they're a very good bet to be that 2 seed. Now, I think the biggest problematic game coming up that could damage that win streak is Golden State. For whatever reason, Golden State to me is the most puzzling team in the NBA.
Yeah.
They are virtually unbeatable at home, but they can't win to save their lives on the road. They've only lost like 7 games at home, and they've only won like 7 games on the road.
Derek, they're 29-7 at home, 7-29 on the road.
There you go.
That's incredible.
I can't figure it out, man. I can't figure that team out. They cannot play on the road this year to save their lives, for whatever the case may be. But going into their domain, they play like that team that was a dominant NBA championship team for like a stretch of 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one game that could probably stop this Sixers winning streak. After that, I think they can handle Dallas. I think they can handle Denver. Phoenix has been up and down. And now that they don't have Kevin Durant, they're very vulnerable right now. They're not a dominant team at home. So they're in pretty good shape heading down the stretch. Those last 2 games against Boston and Milwaukee are going to be interesting because those could be previews of matchup with either one of those 2 teams, or maybe even both of those 2 teams come playoff time.
Well, here's the thing. If you look at, I'll tell you the other thing. The West is going to be interesting to watch in this sense.
Yeah.
Memphis is going to get Ja back, I think, this week from everything that went on with him. Phoenix is going to be getting Durant back soon. How much of a push do they make? You still have Sacramento in that 2 hole. They're still the 2nd seed right now. I mean, it's close between them and Memphis, but do they make them? Does Golden State ever just wake up and be a complete team where they can win on the road like you talked about? I don't know, but I think you're going to see some massive upsets in the Western Conference in the postseason. Like, you could have some real crazy stuff going on.
I couldn't agree with you more. Number one, Phoenix doesn't know when they're going to get Durant back. They said he's done for the regular season, but they don't know if he's going to be ready for the playoffs.
Yep.
I look at Dallas, with Kyrie Irving down there now, and Dallas hasn't really taken off. They win a couple of games, they lose a couple of games. They've been a middle of the road team. Denver's a good home team. Denver's a good team overall, but I don't fear Denver. Denver, I think, lives too much by the three ball. They don't play much defense at all in Denver. I think they live way too much by the three ball. If you catch them at the right time, you can knock Denver out. So you're right. I think the West is going to be a lot more interesting than the East in terms of being unpredictable who could emerge from there. I believe when you talk about the East, it comes down to three teams: Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, no question about it. But encouraging also, Derek, Sixers are 22-12 on the road. They've been a good road team. So, however it shakes out, if you need a big game on the road, they've been pretty good there this year for sure, and really good at home, 26-10. But a pretty solid, balanced team in general. And I think they've all kind of grown into the part a little bit here and gotten better. I think Embiid, the thing you notice with Embiid is there's less games, there's less possessions just taken off where he sort of drifts and he's not really quite locked in. And that's where I give him credit for really kind of growing up here. He's a lot more locked in than maybe not that there were flashes of greatness, but it maybe wasn't quite as consistent. He's gotten better.
Playing with a sense of purpose, and that's the main thing. I think the Sixers team as a whole, and this is mostly for the guys who've been here since last year, maybe not so much the newcomers. I don't know if they'd admit it right now, but I think they're tired of hearing about this team underachieving. You have the pieces now. We questioned the pieces before Christmas because it didn't seem like it was meshing. But once they had players sitting out, other players elevated their playing time, it has helped. It has really helped since the first of the new year in terms of getting more players on the court who are situational players whose roles are really defined, and they play those roles well for this team, which has contributed. We give a lot of success to Joel Embiid, and rightfully so. But I think the entire supporting cast, except for PJ Tucker, because you ain't getting anything out of him other than a defensive stop here or there. But I think for the most part, the supporting cast has really stepped up as a whole to make this team what it is and to put this team in the position it's in right now.
Yeah, I will say this too. It's going to be cool tonight. They're honoring the 83 team, Doc, and that group. Mo Cheeks is an assistant with the Bulls, so it's good timing. He's in town. Doc, the other guys coming in. Of course, Moses Malone not around anymore. Some other guys maybe, but for the most part, have all those guys in the house tonight. So that's gonna be kind of cool, man, to see those guys. Last time the Sixers won it. Looking forward to that.
I wonder how many will show up tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Andrew Toney, and it's weird with Andrew Toney. He's had an issue with the organization for years. The thing is, his issues dated back to Harold Katz, who hasn't been the owner in forever. So I don't know. At some point, man, you get over that. Whatever the case may be. It's too bad. I don't know. I don't know what the whole story is with that. All right. So just to swing it back to the Eagles here a little bit, and we'll close it out with some Sweet 16 and some baseball and all those kind of things. So this is more of a general question, Derek. So we're sitting here right now, and you're looking at what happened, who's back, who isn't back, et cetera. How similar did it play out to how you thought it was going to play out?
I was convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt James Bradbury was not walking back through that door.
Yep.
First and foremost. The Hargrave situation, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised by the numbers the 49ers gave him. I'm not surprised that he's back here. I honestly thought Epps had a chance of coming back. I thought whatever he got in terms of an offer in the open market, the Eagles would jump on it to bring him back. They did not. Kazir White, I'm not surprised. Kazir White was a one-year mercenary for this team. And he went out and he decided to go with Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, I guess because he liked the scheme there, maybe because the Eagles just didn't offer him anything. Seumalo, I think, is a big loss for this team, but good for him. Seumalo's a good dude.
Yeah.
And people don't know this, but Seumalo's been playing with a bad foot, And so the Eagles are in a good situation. And we knew this going in. We kept saying, whether Seumalo came back or not, we knew this offensive line was still going to be one of the top 2 or 3 offensive lines in all of the National Football League, and that bodes extremely well. I was on the fence with Jason Kelce. because when you look, body language says a lot. When you look at Kelsey, when he stood on that field, I believe he was the last Eagle to walk off the field. He stood there. He watched the Jumbotron. He watched the celebration. He hugged his brother. You could tell it really hurt him that he was on the losing end of that. I thought, the mindset would have been, well, you know what? I gave it one final shot. We got close. I've got one more addition to the family now. I've got my money, taking care of my money. It's time to ride off into the sunset. But when an organization offers you a little bit more money than what you played for the previous year, how do you turn that down?
Yeah.
That's hard to turn down. And you're still considered one of the best, if not the best, at your position, even at 34, 35 years of age. So obviously he hasn't got the competitive juices out of his system yet. So I would say outside of Bradbury, nothing much really surprised me about this team. We agreed. We felt that if Fletcher Cox would come back at a reduced rate, that the Eagles would bring him back. Sure enough, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, $4 million less. Yep.
Yeah, $4 million less. I thought it would be half of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But everything else, I'm pretty much not surprised with.
Yeah,
even the CJ GJ situation, I'm not surprised with at all.
I'm not either. It played out weird, but I'm not surprised ultimately where it got to. The one that I would say surprised simply because of just again, I didn't see all of this coming. I thought Slay would just play this year or whatever. I didn't think it would turn into he's out of here, he's back, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't see all of that coming. Okay. And then he finally agrees to an extension. But if you told me before the season or before the offseason, or the beginning of the offseason, that Bradbury and Slay would be back, I would be very pleasantly surprised that both are back. Not shocked at CJ GJ. We all knew the market for Hargrave was $20 million. Eagles weren't going to pay him $20 million. They couldn't do it.
No.
So I'm not surprised that either of them left. The others could have gone anyway. I thought Brandon Graham would be back ultimately. Fletcher Cox, I thought could have gone either way, frankly. That was one that was kind of tough for me to call. I thought Kelsey absolutely would be back or he'd retire. I thought Boston Scott would be back. And I thought Miles Sanders would go. I'm not surprised at it, really, other than the weirdness of the Slay thing. There's not a lot of surprises here for me.
And the weirdness how the CJ thing played itself out.
Very weird.
Those two elements. But again, like I said earlier, when it comes down to Slay, I think him and his agents, his representation got together. Hey, look, man, this is your swan song. Let's make one final push, see what happens. It's going to go either one or two ways. Number one, you're going to get what you want, or number two, you're not, but you might get something better than what you have. And that's what it came down to. He was given an opportunity to go out there and test the market. And obviously his agent found out that the market for Slay may not have been what they thought it might be, for a guy who's 32 years old. Let's go back to the Eagles, eat a little crow, and whatever we can get from them, let's get it. And that's what they did. He wanted 3 years guaranteed. Eagles said, we ain't doing it, So they gave him this 2-year extension. Maybe got him a little bit more pocket change in terms of guaranteed money, but that's about it. What is Darius Slay going to look like at 32 for this team? That remains to be seen. We saw signs of maybe a little kink in the armor in the latter part of the season and into the playoffs. Hopefully he can get back to where he was, that shutdown corner. And let's face it, there were a couple of games where they didn't throw to his side. Yeah. But like I said, you're going to be playing everybody. You're the team now with the bullseye on its back. Everybody's coming for you the entire season next year, and you're going to play better teams next year, a better collection of quarterbacks than what you went through. And you're going to have to be on your A game every game, not just occasionally. So I'm curious to see how he responds to that. But I like what I see in terms of personnel they've brought back for this team, but they do still have some big question marks: linebackers, safety, so on and so forth. Who plugs in at the right guard position? But when you stack them up against everybody in the NFC, every team I match them up against, the Eagles always have more pros than cons against who I match them up against.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm with you. And by the way, I know you always enjoy my countdowns. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we are 38 days away from the draft. You're welcome.
38 days?
38, 11 days left in the month of March, and April
Wow.
27th is when the draft starts, and it's in Kansas City this year.
Oh, man. I would love to be in Kansas City. I'd hit all 3 of my favorite barbecue spots in one day. You know, I did that on a road trip once.
Talk to the higher ups, Derek. Make this happen.
Do you know we hit 3 barbecue spots in the span of like 19 hours?
I believe you. Yes.
I'm telling you the truth. The last time I was in Kansas City with my crew, I said, here's what we're going to do. Because we always try to find the best restaurants. You know, when you go to Kansas City, you got to try Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah.
So I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a barbecue gorge fest. It was 4 of us.
Right.
A barbecue gorge fest. And they're like, hey, that's not a bad idea. So we started out with Q39. Phenomenal place. Then we went to Jack Stacks, and we ended up the next day at my favorite place. We went to Q39 for lunch on a Saturday. We went to Jack Stack for dinner that Saturday evening. And then after the game, it was an early game in Kansas City on Sunday. We ended up at Gates on Sunday, which is my favorite in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that was one of my finer road trips ever. Now that I sit back and think about it,
You're
man.
very proud of yourself for that run
Dude,
you went on.
I smelled like smoked meats for like 4 days. No matter how much I showered, he was in my clothing, everything, man. I had to
loved
watch
every second of it, by the way.
Dude, I had meat sweats, dude, for 24 hours. I'm telling you, man.
You still haven't washed those clothes, I heard.
I should have put them in frames and hung them up, to be honest with you.
They have to go in your Hall of Fame. You need
What?
to do like a wall of fame by your, like, outside of the, I don't know where you could do it, but like leading up to the grills, you do like a wall of fame or something. Yeah. But you should take pictures. That's what you should do. When you're at some of your favorite spots around the country, you get pictures.
Yeah.
And you put them around your grill somewhere out there. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I wish I had taken more shots. I mean, the crew and I, when we traveled, we fabulous places we went to, not just restaurants, but like sites. And, you know, we like to visit sites.
Yeah.
Like we would visit where JFK was shot in Dallas.
I did that when I was in Dallas. Yeah.
You know, we went to Dealey Plaza. Yep. We went to the La Brea Tar Pits in LA. Mm-hmm. We went to the hotel where they shot the original Bruce Willis movie. What was the movie?
Nakatachi.
We were there.
Nakatachi
Nakatachi Plaza.
Yep.
And we got kicked off the grounds because we were being a consummate tourists. We didn't know that because they have so many people that try to. It's a circular driveway out in front of it. And so many people have walked up there trying to take pictures. Come to find out, it's like a big business building, you know, a high-rise business building. So many people, that security came out and said, hey, you guys got to go across the street. You're very nice about it. You know, I know what you guys are doing, appreciate it. But we got like 5 or 6 pictures in before we were actually forced off the property. But I've had a chance to go to some great places, man. So been to every stadium in the NFL except the newer ones, like the Rams Stadium and the Vegas Stadium, but I've been to every stadium multiple times in the NFL. So I can't complain. You know, I've done more than I ever thought I was going to do.
No, I'm with you. Like, I wish, like, my first thought whenever I get somewhere that, whether it's vacation or just a cool spot, you know, isn't to take a picture. And I probably should, you know, be locked in a little bit more like that. I'm just not, you know, but you're right. I'm with you. You still have that stuff in your mind. That's for sure. All right, let's step away. Let's come back and we'll dig a little bit deeper into the NCAA tournament, to the Phillies who are edging closer, what Trey Turner's doing on the world stage here, Philly shortstop, and we'll get some birthdays. We'll get some movies, all when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Razor Technology and managed IT services. Yes, Razor Technology's comprehensive managed service provider solutions delivers constant monitoring, on-demand assistance, and rapid issue resolution. Through data-vetted and insight-driven implementation, they strengthen your existing IT resources with both human power and expertise that reduces security risks and downtime while enhancing organizational efficiency and productivity. They are a strategic resource for adaptive and fast-growing companies that need help selecting, implementing, and managing their IT services. Their goal? It's bigger than one project, one problem, or one upgrade. It's improving the overall functioning of their partners and helping them achieve their business objectives through an ongoing synergistic relationship. Give your IT team the freedom to refocus by augmenting their reach with Razor Technology. Contact Razor Technology today to learn how their managed services can protect and enhance your business by calling 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross. Is the best vacation one that you find or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights or reminds you to go with the flow? To get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this."
We are back hanging out with you. As you mentioned, Derek, a little bit earlier, for folks who maybe didn't get a chance to see, we're going to be joined tomorrow by Mike Kay. Mike Kay used to cover the Eagles here, but he is the Panthers beat writer for the Charlotte Observer. So he is going to be joining us tomorrow. They are a fascinating team, but he's also a guy who keeps a very close eye on the Eagles too. So looking forward to talking to Jeff tomorrow, or Mike, excuse me, tomorrow. That's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's hit a couple things here, Derek. One, Team USA is on to the finals of the World Baseball Classic. They took it to Cuba, just rolled them 14-2 yesterday. Trey Turner, 2 more home runs. He hit 2 yesterday, and he had 1 in their game before this on Saturday. He hit a grand slam, which lifted them to the semis. He's got 4 home runs and 10 runs driven in the World Baseball Classic, which leads the team in both of those categories. You're talking about a team that's got, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and just beasts all over the place. Nice to have him in a Phillies uniform real soon. You muted, Gunner.
I was just thinking, I cannot wait to see him in a Phillies uniform for 162 games. Man, what an addition to this lineup he's going to be. A pure hitter, with speed on the base path, great glove. What else could you ask for to enhance a team that came oh so close to winning a World Series, man?
Yeah.
And once you get Bryce Harper back in that lineup also, wow.
Yeah, and this is where I give management a lot of credit and the ownership a lot of credit, because they could have just tried to run it back. They went out and they got arguably the best player on the market.
Yes.
So that's a big time move by them. So that's awesome, and he's doing great. And they we'll see what happens. They play the winner of Japan and Mexico, and that'll be tomorrow, I believe. So the World Baseball Classic is coming to an end pretty soon. But USA,
just don't get hurt. Don't get hurt.
Oh, well, did you see with Edwin Diaz, the Mets?
Yes,
and some others.
Edwin Diaz got hurt celebrating after a win. Just celebrate.
I know.
And tore his knee.
I know. And that's the counter. Like, people who are countering are right. They're like, dude, he got hurt, celebrate. Like, he didn't get hurt in the game, but you're right. There is that fear. Like, just get through it, man. I'm
just surprised the volume of high caliber players who decide to play in that thing. When you're trying to get ready for a regular season, and I know it's an honor to do it, and there's a lot that goes into it. I'm just amazed at the big name players that put themselves in that position.
Yeah.
Because I wonder how that counts against their contracts. If you get hurt in this, we don't have to pay you this. I don't know. I don't know how
that's a great question. I don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, I feel a lot safer as an organization if it's a position player rather than a pitcher, because I don't know what's going on, how a pitcher's being used by the other manager, and that would worry me way more. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there's any Phillies. At least Suarez was shut down because he had forearm soreness, but he's apparently fine. But other than that, not a whole lot on that front. A couple other odds and ends here before we dive into the Sweet 16. So Ed Cooley, formerly of Providence, is going to Georgetown. He'll replace Patrick Ewing. He had a great run at Providence. He's a big time coach, Ed Cooley. He was really, really good. Now he's taking over a mess, Derek. Georgetown. Yes. I mean, 29 game conference losing streak, 13-50 the last 2 years. That's what he's walking into. Good luck.
What happened to that program? You had one of the most illustrious players ever as your coach. You are in a really good area between Virginia and Maryland and DC in terms of quality basketball players. What has happened to that program, dude? Because now this guy has to go in there and recruit and try to get that team back to compete with the likes of Xavier and Marquette. That's not easy to do. UConn, St. John's, that's not easy to do, man. And so you don't know if Patrick Ewing couldn't recruit for that university, what chance does this dude have?
It's a good question. I don't know. And it's a shame the way it played out for Ewing. It is. It like you hate to see that at his alma mater. It's a tough deal. But yeah, we'll see. They gave him $6 million a year. So I think whatever happens, Ed Cooley he'll be okay.
All right. Yeah, he'll be okay.
He'll survive. Rick Pitino, it looks like that's heating up and getting real close. He's going to reportedly take the St. John's gig. He's been at Iona the last couple of years. And seems to make a lot of sense. The guy can still coach. St. John's has had a hard time being relevant too. He's a New Yorker. He'll get them right back in the swing in the East.
He is such a great teacher of fundamentals, and just his name recognition alone in that area will generate a better caliber of player coming through there. How old is he now? Is he 70?
70. He's 70 on the nose.
70. Okay. Yep. I mean, think about that, man. He still has a passion for the game, a passion to teach young men, a passion to compete at 70 years old. It's not about money, not about fame, not about hardware. He has all that stuff. It's about the love of the game and mentoring young men and trying to mold them into a cohesive unit to play the game that they all love at the highest level.
Yeah.
Kudos to him. I love watching him coach. And hopefully he can turn that program around as well and get it back to prominence if he takes the job.
No question. So that'll be interesting. Oh, I forgot to mention with the Phillies segment here. We're just 10 days away. They have 9, including today. If you include today's game, which they're in the midst of, Bohm already went yard. They have 9 games left in the spring. So it flies, doesn't it? It's crazy. Yeah.
Dude, we're what, 10 days away from the end of this month?
Yeah.
Right. 30, 31 days in March. 31, right?
31.
So we're 11 days away from the end of the month?
Yeah.
Already?
Yep.
And the temperatures are rising, baby. It's getting warmer, Rob.
That is right, baby. Yeah, I hear it.
Time to get out and do some yard work.
I know. So yeah, the schedule starts their regular season schedule, I should say.
Yeah.
They open up in Texas against the Rangers, which I don't really love, but it is what it is. But it's Thursday, March 30th. So that's how close we are to this thing becoming a reality. How much tournament have you been involved in? I didn't do a bracket this year for the first time in a while. I just didn't. I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't.
I have learned that because of the unpredictable nature of the tournament, by the end of the first day, I'm thoroughly frustrated because it never pans out the way you want it to. But that's what I love about the tournament, Rob. The unpredictability in the tournament. You find yourself, if you don't have a rooting interest for a team, in my case, I root for the Davids against the Goliaths.
Same.
You know, and it was, lo and behold, the first day of the tournament, we had one of those outcomes, you know, and you look at some of the teams that are still standing right now. Yeah, be honest. You know, you never expected them to be a part of the Sweet 16.
No, Princeton, man. I mean,
come on, really?
Crazy. It's crazy.
Of all teams, Princeton.
Yeah,
but Princeton is balling, man.
Oh, they are.
My goodness, they can shoot. They run well. I'm not used to being a Princeton team being that athletic when it comes tournament time. They always give from 1 or 2 games and then call it a season. But this team is a little bit different, man, and I love them. Princeton's one of those teams I may root for because you don't expect them to be there. But I love the fact you got 2 number ones already out. You had a number 1 bow out the first day. You had a number 1 bow out the second day. You're down to the 2 number ones already. Some 7 seeds that you didn't expect to rise up have risen up. I just love the format, man. You know, and to me, you know me. NCAA tournament is a true sign that spring is right around the corner.
I'm with you, man. And yeah, we got 16 left. I mean, just the fact that yesterday you're watching FAU and FDU playing each other, you're like, what is happening here, man? And you know, the big boys, Duke, Kentucky, the heavy hitters just bye-bye. See ya. You know, I think it makes it more. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like the fact that that's what this looks like this year.
And did you really think FAU would still be standing?
No.
I mean, seriously? No. FAU? Really? Of all teams?
Yeah, I didn't.
You know, I mean, I'm looking up and down the bracket here, and you know, I thought Kansas would be back. Kansas got knocked off. You know, K-State has been a pleasant surprise. You know, UCLA looks really good. I didn't think Tennessee was as good as it was, and they beat Duke by 13 points.
They're tough, man.
You know, they're just a physical team that wears you down.
Yep.
Arkansas is a team I didn't think would be there. You know, and I'm looking up and down the board here, and San Diego State is still kicking. You know, it's just amazing. Some of these teams. And, you know, I'm looking at this upcoming matchup, but one in particular I want to see. You got Miami playing Houston, a 5 seed against the 1 coming up this week. I think Miami can hang with this team. I don't know. I would love to see it happen. You know, if people ask me, right, who do you picking as your 2 finalists? To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I think it's so balanced. Even though you got Alabama labeled as a 1 seed, Houston labeled as a 1 seed, I don't know if they're that dominant, to be honest with you.
No, like there's not. I don't think there's anything that you would say, "Oh my God, I'm shocked" next weekend, or you know, whatever by any of these things playing out. You know, entertaining games. Even the late game last night, the Gonzaga TCU game was fun. I mean, it was back and forth.
Yes, 84-81 final. That was a great game.
Yeah, and even the one that ended a little bit before that, Miami kind of pulled away at the end, but that was a pretty competitive game for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch those games. All right, let's hit it's a little birthdays. You ready for some birthday action? We haven't.
Oh man, it's been so long since we've done birthdays.
Here's what's so crazy. So it's like this stuff's ingrained in you. When we were off, like I would see somewhere that was so and so's birthday. I'm like, we could have used that one, man.
I know.
Yeah.
We're sick, Rob. We're sick individuals.
It is a sickness, that's for sure. All right, so let's hit a couple here. Start with this one, Derek. Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, today was born on this day in 1928. You talk about an impact on mankind. I'll tell you, for a guy who started off doing just a local show in Pittsburgh.
And that's he was a god in Pittsburgh.
Whoa, man. Yeah, you know, I mean, you lived and worked in that market for a long time. You know what he meant to that area, but jeez. I mean, Tom Hanks movie and you know, just everything. He's still used as an example to this day. You know, it's crazy.
From Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Great area. Great, beautiful area.
Yeah, it's where the Steelers practice, right?
Yep.
And that's Arnold Palmer too. Wasn't he a Latrobe guy?
Yep. And Arnold Palmer has a house that sits like on a low ridge plateau. We used to fly sometimes in a company helicopter from Pittsburgh out to Latrobe to cover events when we had to
That'd be
get
pretty
out
cool.
there.
I've never been on a helicopter.
Never?
No. What's that like?
Dude, it's weird because it's like you're suspended in air and you hit a little turbulence and it'll drop a little bit. I tell you though, the most frightening, and I don't know if I ever told you the story, the most frightening experience I ever had in a helicopter was my first time ever. I had just gotten a job in NBC in San Diego, and we would go down and cover the Baja 1000 off-road race and right across the border in Mexico.
Okay.
It's such a long course, you would just pick it up in certain spots. So we would go, and our helicopter pilot, I didn't know this at the time, was a former helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Wow. So I'm new, getting to know everybody. We get in the helicopter, me, photographer, and the pilot, and we take off. And we get up in the air, and all of a sudden the helicopter pilot, because you have the headset on so you can talk to him because you can't talk over the
so
engine.
Loud, yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden I hear the helicopter pilot talking about, we have problems here. And the helicopter's going vroom, vroom, like this. We got problems. We may have to land here in a hurry. And now my heart's in my throat.
Oh boy!
And the helicopter's slowly dropping, right? And then at one point it sounds like the engine is off. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh
I barely got married. I ain't gonna live to see my future. And my photog's sitting there calm as can be. A guy named Mark Guglielmo, and I'm sitting there going, "What's wrong with this dude? Is he drunk? What the heck's going on?" And then all of a sudden, they both start laughing, and the helicopter rises, and the pilot says, "Hey, that's my welcome. Hey, welcome to NBC 39."
Oh my God!
That's what he used to do to newcomers. He'd get them in a helicopter, and make it seem like they're having problems, and it was like the helicopter's dying. And I'm thinking, I'm about to head to the pearly gates. So man, I tell you what, man, and they both sit there and laugh. Welcome to NBC 39. And I'm like, and it turned out to be great guys, two great guys. I can't even think of the pilot's name now.
That's cool.
Great guy. But yeah, man, but I've been in helicopters maybe 3 times in my life, and man, it's a weird feeling. It's great to be hovering over and just looking around. So, in a plane, you can't see anything really because you're 30,000 feet up.
Right.
But you're in a helicopter, you're so much lower, man. And it's so nice to see off in the distance, man. You see the roads you normally travel, and you get to see so much more of the countryside, developments, lakes and streams you didn't even know were there. Huh. You see wildlife running and stuff like that. It's awesome, dude.
That's awesome. That's cool. Okay. All right. Who else? Holly Hunter, the actress, has done a lot of stuff over the years. 65 years old today. Spike Lee, director, actor, 66 years old today. And in all the commercials with Samuel L. and Charles for the NCAA tournament. You see them popping up every second.
Remember the old commercials he used to be in with Mike, though? Michael Jordan?
Oh, remember the old Mars Blackman. Yeah,
Mars Blackman. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that helped really push the I meant to bring that up with you. That they were obviously doing Air Jordan commercials back then. But have you seen the trailer for Air, which is the Nike with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon? That looks awesome. Looks really good.
Yeah,
it's about the whole thing. For people who don't know, it's for when Nike pursued Michael Jordan and tried to, and obviously eventually did, but we're trying to convince him to sign with Nike, and they were going to structure a whole campaign around him and all that. And Jordan was hesitant, so was his family, but eventually, they closed the deal. But it looks really good, really good. William Hurt, the actor, died I think last year. Unfortunately, was born on this day, 1950. Good actor. Carl Reiner, who was one of the all-time director, producers, actors, writers as well.
Yes, sir.
Rob Reiner's father, 1922, he was born. Sting, the wrestler, not the singer.
Yes.
Is
one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, he's
I love Sting. The face paint and everything.
Yeah, he's all in. Jerry Reed, the old singer and actor, was in Smokey and the Bandit. He was the Snowman, was born on this day, 1937. The great Bobby Orr of the Bruins is 75 years old today. Speaking of greats, Pat Riley, one of the all-time coaches / front office members, is 78 today. Riley is still doing his thing in Miami with the Heat. Kathy Ireland, the supermodel, is 60 years old. How is she 60? That can't happen.
Still strong.
Correct.
Look at Rob. Yeah. To play to Rob's hand, still strong.
Jamal Crawford, who was a scoring machine off the bench played forever in the NBA, is 43 today.
Played for 9 different teams.
Yeah. He was around a long time. He played till he was pushed 40, I think.
He came into the league in 2000 and played the 2020.
Okay.
Played 20 seasons.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Danny Garcia, Philadelphia's own. Boxer, 35 years old. Danny, good dude. Hal Linden, who played Barney Miller on the old Barney. He's still with us, man. 92 years old for Barney, for Hal. Who else? That's all I got. What else do you have?
Really? Okay. Let's see here. Chester Bennington, who was the lead vocalist for Linkin Park.
Yeah, passed away. Unfortunately.
Was 41 years old. He was also the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think after they had some movement there, Scott Weiland, I think, either passed or left the band. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he passed away at the age of 41, unfortunately. You got Barron Trump, Donald Trump's son, at 17.
Okay.
Holly Hunter from The Firm. I love that movie, The Firm. 65. Michael Rappaport is 53. Mike Francesca, 69.
The Pope.
Yep. Camille Cosby, Bill's wife, 79.
Okay.
Let's see here. Teresa Russell is a really good actress, 66.
A lot of stuff.
Ozzie Nelson, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Remember that show?
He was the father.
Yeah, he passed away in 1975. Camille Cosby. I already said that one. Let me get that off of there. Mookie Blaylock, 56, played 13 years in the NBA.
Yeah.
Was a 12th overall pick in 1989.
Out of Oklahoma, I believe.
He was the first pick of the Nets.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I think he came out of Oklahoma.
Came out of Oklahoma. Marcus Vick, Michael Vick's brothers, 39.
Okay. Man, we haven't heard from him in a long time.
No, you normally when you hear from him, it's not good.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably not the worst thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, Paul Wahlberg, who's 59. He's the co-owner of the Wahlberg Burger Places.
Yeah, chef. He's a master chef. Yep.
And he has a show on called Wahlburgers also, a reality show. And his brothers obviously are Mark and Donnie Wahlberg, and they all co-own the restaurants together.
Okay. It's interesting.
So he's 59. Yep.
All right. Before we jump back into movies here, it is official. Rick Pitino taking the St. John's gig. So that's a done deal.
Okay. All right.
So look, I think the Big East just got a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Patino goes to St. John's and Ed Cooley goes to Georgetown. Let me throw one more little coaching related nugget in there. There are multiple reports that there could be mutual interest between Sam Cassell, who's a Sixers assistant, and the Temple job. Temple fired Aaron McKee, I think, before we went off. Took our week off. But be interesting if he takes it. I don't know that he will. Temple's become kind of a tough spot. But maybe. Never know.
I don't know, man. I think your program is on hard times right now, man. I think the glory days ever since John Chaney left there, the glory days are gone.
Yeah,
for Temple. I hate to say it, but it's tough for Temple to recruit, man. It is when you're recruiting against Villanova here, and look at some of the other programs in the immediate area in New Jersey, even like West Virginia.
Yep.
Over on the other side of the state in Pittsburgh, it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough to keep these players in the city now. These guys all want to play for bigger programs, more TV exposure.
Yep.
And Temple's just not getting it right now, man. I hate to say that.
I know.
It's true.
They sacrificed. So the Atlantic 10 was a very good conference for them, and from a geographical standpoint, So they moved out of that because of football. And they've been chasing their tail, in my opinion, ever since. Now, they had a great run with Matt Rule, and they had success with Al Golden.
Yep.
And it looked like they had really sort of turned the corner, right? But things came crashing back to earth. And now you're stuck in the AAC, which, you're playing like Tulane. It's like there's no feel for it whatsoever. And I think it's made it a tough gig, for whoever takes it. All right. Pretty good movies today. 1964, The Pink Panther, which is, one of the all-time great movies. Peter Sellers. Basic Instinct, 1992, with Sharon Stone. We actually talked about it a couple of weeks ago, I think, didn't we?
Yeah. Did we talk about our favorite scene in the movie?
Yes, we did. Yes, sir. Wild Things, another movie with some interesting scenes in it, from 1998. Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon, Denise Richards, Nev Campbell, among others in that one. That was from 1998. Duplicity, 2009, a good one. And The Postman Always Rings Twice with Jack Nicholson in 1981. All right, you have any?
You have 2 movies from 2015. One is Tracers, which was a decent movie, and the other one was Insurgent from 2015, which was another decent movie as well. So those 2 to add to the list.
All right, we are plumb out of time. That'll do it. Barrett will be back in full tomorrow. Again, we have Mike Kay coming on. He'll be joining us tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. We'll dig into the Panthers, to the Eagles, to the NFL with Mike tomorrow. But thanks to all of you in the chat section. I want to thank our guy Tone DeShields, doing an excellent job.
Appreciate you, Tone.
Good job out of you, Tone. And everybody streaming, everybody listening. Again, you guys are the best. We're happy to be back hanging out with you guys. And should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. All right, don't go anywhere. You have the National Football Show with Dan Cilio coming up. And remember, we're back tomorrow. Same time, 12 to 3. And just a reminder, if you miss any of the program, you can always go back and watch them in their entirety, jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, either of those options. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Monday, and we will see you guys tomorrow for D-Gun. I'm Rob. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.